Megan, I appreciate you coming on to Easy Talk.
Thank you.
You're the first guest where I did not know of you, and then I had Nicolette. Actually, Adrian did a really good job of talking about you beforehand. She's like, I know this entrepreneur. She owns her own barbershop. She's so cool, all these other things. I was like, oh, yeah, cool. You know, that sounds great. And then when I had Nikki here, she was like, oh, no, I work for that lady. Like, definitely have her on. And they were probably saying your praises for like 20 minutes straight after the show. So then I was just like, all right, like, let me see this girl's Instagram. Let me see. And then I saw what you looked like, and I was like, holy shit, we got to bring her on.
Okay, stop. I'm already embarrassed. I'm like blushing. We're 5 seconds in, and these ladies were at the shop together, and they were saying the same stuff about you.
Oh, really?
They're just like, yeah, they said
What
all
did
kinds
you
of nice
say?
stuff. Because I was like, I don't like doing podcasts because everyone wants to do a podcast, and I'm always like, send the questions over, and it's not put together, so I'm just not, it's a lot of time to waste.
Oh, girl.
So I usually say no, but they were like, no, Ryan's so cool. So here we are.
First of all, thank you.
It worked out.
You're not wrong. We don't have the questions ready. This is not.
I didn't even ask you for questions though, because if you get a vibe, you get a vibe. It felt comfortable and it felt like it felt very put together. And if anyone can see this room, it's obviously put together.
I think, I don't know if this will go like change going forward, but the status quo that I've had so far, and I feel like it's been the most enjoyable, is I do research on people so that I'm not coming in here and be like, what do? You know what I mean? But I also don't want to have like this like artificial conversation where it's like, you knew the questions beforehand.
You knew all the answers.
Yeah, it's just like, this is kind of stupid. Why are we even talking? I want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So first of all, thank you. I do appreciate that and appreciate you being on here.
Same.
You are an interesting person for many facets, but one for me personally that rings home is just the entrepreneurial spirit that you've shown. When I came down to Union Barber Shop, you were already working and you had an apprentice next to you. Kind of, you guys were like, you were shadowing him, just making sure that everything was kind of going, status quo for what your metrics are. And it was funny because you were like, oh, hello, like, do you have an appointment? I was like, oh, no, hi, I'm Ariane. Like, I came to say hi. You know what I mean?
didn't get to stalk your Instagram before, so I didn't know what you looked like.
Beautiful. Surprise. But we had a discussion for maybe 10 minutes. And I got to, walk the grounds of your business. And I was just blown away by the amount of story in there. Does that make sense?
History.
History.
Everything on the walls is history. I can tell you there's 10,000 things on the wall, and every piece has, it might be wrapped around my family. It might be a barber in town that passed away. It might be the great, great, great grandfather of the man who taught me how to strop and hone straight razors when I first learned how to barber in Tucson, that his grandfather also had a barbershop in that same spot. So he gave us all the pictures of his, there's so much history in there, and it's priceless.
Well, Nikki was actually the one who kind of corrected me because, like, when she said, like, I'm a barber, I was like, oh, like, you cut hair. She's like, no.
We're barbers.
We're barbers.
We try to keep it very traditional. And no disrespect, like, we all cut hair, but we really try to stick to hot shaves, keeping it really traditional, always a straight razor in every service, beard trims, and it doesn't matter if it's long hair, short hair, but just like a really traditional vertical style of haircuts.
May I ask why that niche and not another? Why barbering and not necessarily being a hairdresser or someone more in the cosmetology sector? Like, why this path?
For me, I just didn't get asked. I have a mentor, Patty Davenport, who's amazing. She no longer cuts hair, but 16 years ago, she walked into the bar that I worked at. I was a really great multitasker. I had a couple tattoos. Her vision was a shop with cool tattooed girls only, because girls weren't really welcome into the barbershop scene. It was all men. She couldn't get a job anywhere. When I first moved here, I couldn't get a job because I was a girl. They would literally be like, you're a girl, you can't work here, and you can't be a barber. This was only like 16 years ago. So the industry has really changed pretty rapidly. And we've all done a lot to change that. But she offered me a barber shop apprentice. She was a traditional barber. She wasn't a cosmetologist. So I went to barber school. So you can do a crossover license, but the schooling's different. There's cosmetology school, and most people go to that. That's your hair color, perming, and all the stuff. And then there's a barber school, and that's haircuts, hot shaves, and it's pretty minimal. And we do other stuff. You go over all kinds of stuff. I opted, women's haircuts, and which obviously we do now. We are inclusive. We cut everyone's hair, no matter who you are. as long as it's the style of cut we do. And I've given women straight razor shaves before. So that's very cool, right? Women and all people are welcome now. And that's a huge deal and huge for me because it is a racist space for a lot of years. It's a no women allowed for a lot of years. So for me, that's been a huge deal to make sure everyone feels welcome. But that's it. So for me, I only went to barber school. I never did a crossover. And I honestly told my mentor that I wasn't interested because I didn't want to work in a salon. That didn't sound something that I would be interested in. But she was like, no, it's men. It's mostly men, and it's traditional. And straight. She talked about the straight razor and started telling me the history of barbering, and I was just blown away that this was even a job. I had no idea this was an option for a job. And since I started bartending when I was like 16, so I've only ever done that, basically like serving men beer. Was basically like my job. So I was like, oh my gosh, I could do this, but like have a skill set, like something a little more skillful than just opening cans of beer. So
you started bartending when you were 16.
Yeah, I like lied to get a job, and my dad owned a bar. So when I was 19,
let's not name the bar.
It's closed now.
Oh, okay.
And
let's name the bar.
It's in Yuma, Arizona. Like no one's ever gonna go in there.
Times change.
Yeah. So and all these guys would hire me. I wouldn't really tell them I was 16, and they'd find out. They didn't really care anyway. I always carried myself a little older, and then when I was 19, I obviously could legally work. You can legally bartend in Arizona at 19, and that's what I did. So that's all I had. And I went to other schools. Like I went to massage therapy school, not a fan. Try to do like traditional college, not a fan. So the barbering thing.
May I ask why? Like why not a fan of massage therapy? Why not a fan of college?
The massage therapy thing was very much like, kept feeling very sexual. It just seemed like I went to school, I paid all this money, and then you get your clients, and I don't know if it was just like me in particular, but it was a normal story for a lot of women in that field. It's just like it wasn't what I was trying to do. Also, I'm not trying to touch people. I really didn't think it through before I was doing it. It just wasn't for me. Just the whole touching of people's bodies, like too much energy. I'm like a pretty energetic person. I can take on energy if I'm not careful. So like touching people, like taking all their problems, I just wasn't a fan. And then traditional college, like you just can't pick and select things you're interested in, right? You go in, they're like, do a bunch of math, and math makes me cry. I'm 40 years old. Math still makes me cry. So that nothing was going to be interesting to me.
So the bartending seemed to be like your piece and like where you were
I
making
mean,
your money.
I can hold 15 conversations at once. I can make 20 drinks at once. I love hooking people up. So I was the queen. Like everyone knew if you were trying to get laid that night. Like, dude, and I loved
Megan was the original Tinder.
Yes, 100%. Everyone used to be like, you before all the internet. They're like, you should start a 1-900 number and just do it on the phone. But I would make sure that you and her met.
What is a 1-900 number?
Like a 1-800, like back in the day, you would call a 1-800 number and a sexy lady would like talk to you, and just companionship over the phone.
In conservative America?
How old are you?
I'm 30. I'm gonna turn 32 in December.
Yeah, okay, we're not that far apart, but yeah, it was like you could just like call a 1-900 number, and it costs a little money. You'd get in trouble. Your wife would find out you called a 1-900 number. Jesus. It's like $3 a minute. Back then, it's a lot of money.
When I was like 7 years old, that's when American Pie came out, the original, and there was like the scene with the topless girl, and I remember there was like 9 of us, like 7 to 9 year olds, and then like my brother at the time, who was like 13, got his hands on the VHS. So like we had
the
like this
original porn.
Oh yeah, dude, it was like fucking a living room full of like 20 under the age of 13.
That's my childhood, but with real porn. Like I think my dad always had the best porn, so everyone would come to our house. My brother would steal them, and I love to cook for everyone. I've always loved to serve people, so I'm like, okay, if you guys eat my food, I'll let you guys sit here and watch porn. Or I love to make movies. I always wanted to be a director, so I'd write scripts and I'd make everyone be in my movie.
How many of those boys would propose? Think about it. It's like this girl's cooking for you and then like letting you watch porn. You're like, please be my wife.
They're my best friends. They are the boys that I like, your neighborhood boys, right? That's where you start experimenting. But
times were fun. Times were good.
I know some 90s. It was awesome.
Terribly sorry to interrupt the content that you're enjoying right now, but if you've been watching our content for the past couple of months, you realize that Easy Talk is a brand new podcast. We're genuinely trying to figure this thing out as we're going. Some growing pains for sure. If you are genuinely enjoying this content, we feel very humble in that, but we would like to ask that you would also subscribe and like to the channel, simply because it does help us in the algorithms and ultimately to grow. So take a second. I'd really appreciate it. And on with the show.
So
I didn't know what a 1-900 number was. I was
you're
blessed.
Look at this podcast. You're learning so much.
only the most important details.
You're only going to learn the most inappropriate things from me.
Ugh.
I'm sure.
Listen, I've learned some shit from this.
So
from sitting
funny.
Here. So forgive me. So yeah, we're moving up now. So you started 16. At 19, you could do it legally.
Yep.
But when was it that your mentor, and forgive me, what was her name again?
Her name's Patty Davenport.
Patty.
I had moved to Tucson because I went to massage therapy school. I started working at the oldest bar in Tucson, the Buffet, and it was so wild, such a fun bar. And she really liked me, and she asked if I wanted to do it, and I definitely had, a heavy drinking and drug problem back then. So I remember like half blacked out. I was like, that sounds stupid. I'm not cutting chicks' hair. I make tons of money. I would never change. And she told me what it was. And I remember going home that night and I kind of blew her off. And I was sobering up thinking like, you can like a straight razor, like I've seen in the movies, that's a real job. Like I could do that. And I just remember getting excited and thinking like, she's never going to want to talk to me again. I blew her off. She's not going to come back. And she came back the next day with a full contract that she would apprentice me the same way that you saw me apprenticing. So multitasking, I can do like 10 things at once. So it's good for me to have a bunch of things at once. Same thing she was. And I learned a lot of that from her. So while she cut hair and ran the barber shop, which she opened, it was called Dapper Grooming Lounge on Scott Avenue in Tucson, Arizona. It was amazing. Not there anymore, but lots of history there. She apprenticed me and another gal, Josepha, and her ex-husband, Mike. And we all worked together, and she taught all of us how to barber at that spot.
How much older was Patty than you?
Actually, she's like 1 year older than me.
Wow.
We're the same age.
No shit.
She might be 1 year younger than me.
It was just like that's what she was attracted to from a young age.
I had like tattoos. I have a lot of charisma, I think. Behind the bar, she saw me. I just handled business. And I was always a really good bartender. My bar was always like 100 people over capacity, but it never seemed like it. So I always ran a tight ship, had that. So she just saw that, I think, that I could multitask and do things. And I had a good,
pressure.
it's the same way I hire people. I don't hire you because you can cut hair. I hire you because I can tell you have good character and you have charisma and personality and charm and you want to help and be around people. That's who I hire because I can teach anyone to cut hair.
You're trying to set a culture.
I'm trying to find people who really give a shit about people because what I'm finding and what keeps happening more and more is that everyone cares about money and all the nice things you have and no one cares about people anymore. So we don't take time to even like hold doors open anymore or smile at people. And I just think for me, like I just don't want to live in a world where we don't care about each other anymore. And that's very much the truth right now. So all I care about is that when and I can't control everything, but I can kind of control my environment. And my environment is my home. That's all love. It's hanging out with certain people that I know are all love and not bad people as much as I can figure it out. And my shop. So just like I hope that when you came in, you felt like welcome. Like, well, I wish I was getting a haircut. I wish I could hang out longer. I actually wish you would have hung out longer because it's never an inconvenience for even someone who's not getting a service to hang out. Like there's literally a homeless guy that comes and charges his phone there every day for an hour because he just wants to hang out. And I'm okay with it because I don't know where else that guy is getting any love or any personal interaction with people other than really shitty interaction. So for real, the haircuts are very important, but I could give a fuck less. I really couldn't care. I just want to make sure that when you came in, you felt loved and you felt welcome and that you leave feeling better than you came in.
Where does this passion come from? Because you say that this is so important to you, but was this something like when you were younger up until now? Was it something that you learned throughout the years? Like when did this passion for like creating this environment around you and trying to sustain this like, culture of love and affection and appreciation, was this learned? Was this from birth? I'm trying to pinpoint this.
It's like very kind of new for me actually. And it's like really like I'm just so overwhelmingly like into it now because it just started 5 years ago basically when I learned to love myself. Like I was always the new kid as a kid, always teased. I'm a military dad and I love my parents. They're amazing. No disrespect that there's had a lot of hugs, there wasn't ever any of that around me. It was always like survival, fight for your life, you know. And then I got older, so I just started, you know, drinking, heavy drinking and doing drugs problem for a lot until the same about 5 years ago. So I never had a lot of love. I never had a lot of close-knit friends. Like a lot of people have friends, and you know, I do now from high school on. When I got a little older, obviously I have like friends that I've known forever, but a lot of people that I grew up with are no longer with us because they also didn't take care of themselves or have that tight knit. They didn't have love for themselves. Most of the people I was always around, we didn't love ourselves, and I never loved myself. So now that I'm learning how to love myself, it's just so obvious that you don't get to love yourself if there was never people loving on you. So now I'm feeling, now that I'm getting it, all I can do is pour love into others, because I don't know if that's how you were raised or, you know, it's not my business. All I know is how good it feels to have love for others, make others feel good about themselves, and feel good and love myself, as opposed to the latter. Because the hating yourself, hating others, I used to walk around with the meanest look on my face. I would never smile at other people. I was afraid almost to talk to people because I didn't want to know what you thought about me. I would almost automatically think you wouldn't like me. I didn't like myself. So like, I didn't understand. So that's it. I've learned a lot. Over the last 5 years has been the most instrumental growing part of my life, like probably the best. And I can't imagine how better it's going to get from what I'm learning now. But it's just, this last 5 years has like shaped who I am, who I've always wanted to be, and like the things that I want. And it's so simple. I literally just learned to forgive myself, love myself, and love other people. And it's like just kind of magical. So that's it. I don't even know how it happened, but now it's turning into like a passion, like all I can think about. And I do this weird thing too. Like if I don't know you and I'm walking up to you, I want to talk to you, I want to have an interaction with you before. And I think I did it. I saw Adrian and I kind of stopped before I saw her, because I just, in my head, I'm like, oh, I love you. And then I was like, look at your dress. You look so beautiful. But I just need to stop and say that for a second, because I just internally want you to feel, I know this sounds really silly, kind of, but I just want to automatically, energetically put out love to you, so that whatever, I know you're going to feel that, because I know this world is like magnets and energy.
Well,
more
they say
than anything.
90% of communication is nonverbal.
Yeah, it is. And then for me too, I instantly go, oh, love, whatever. Maybe, I don't know what happens out there. There's so much shit going on and I'm so busy. So it just stops me. There's a human being in front of me. I just said the love thing. Now I can focus on you and be about you. And it helps me be in the moment too, because I'm a very anxious, used to be not in the moment, just all over the place. So
would it be safe to assume, or I don't want to say assume, but would it be safe to understand you as this, that there were things that happened early on that kind of shaped you for a while, but then there were things that happened after that that helped shape who you are now?
100%. And I'm so grateful.
Would the Megan of 10 years ago recognize the Megan of today?
Not at all. Not at all. We wouldn't be sitting here. I just think I always say that I'm so grateful that whatever snapped in me snapped, whatever changes had to happen, whatever, you hit rock bottom, right? And you're like, it's either sink or swim. And I really wanted to swim. Like I wanted to swim to the point that I was flying out of the water up to the sky. So that's where it got me. But no, and sometimes I even look back, I'll look at old pictures. I hate looking at old pictures, because all I can see is like the saddest, most miserable, unhappy, making bad decisions, relying on everyone else for her happiness, worrying about what everyone else wants her to do. Who do you want me to be? All that stuff. So no, I wouldn't even recognize. And sometimes I'm shocked that this is who I am now, that I feel so myself. Sometimes I'm like, who are you? Like, I feel so grateful. This is who you get to be. Like, thank God. Because, not fun.
Would you mind if I asked, like, so you keep kind of saying 5 years ago, what happened 5 years ago?
So basically,
what was this culmination?
I have had Union Barber Shop STL on Instagram, for 10 years, just about now. We're going on 10 years.
So 5 years ago, it was 5 years.
I'm halfway into this business and I'm losing it. I have people, it's growing, everybody loves it, but I'm not connecting with the people. you're my client. You walk in, I'm like, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with you? I don't have love for you yet. I'm still trying to figure out how to like, how am I supposed to be around you and you and you and you? Now I know that I don't have to be anybody. I'm me. I love everyone. It's just, we're going to work out.
But what was that? Well, okay, I feel you.
Yeah.
But that was just something you woke up one day? What was like the catalyst for this change?
Yeah, I guess that was a tangent. You know what? One day I just realized how fucking miserable I was. I was miserable in that business because, and that tangent went too far, but because I couldn't connect with my clients. I couldn't connect with the people that worked with me, who I'm supposed to be this leader for, and I didn't know how to lead. And I'm like, what am I doing? I felt really lost. I got a divorce. I had to make the decision that me and my ex-husband were no longer meant to be, because that relationship miserable, physically not working out, being a drug addict since I'm like, God, I did my first drug when I was like 13, 14, like hard drugs. It had never stopped. I never stopped. So physically a mess, business-wise a mess. I literally just, and then we went pretty close to coronavirus. We're getting pretty close to, coronavirus.
5 years ago will be 2019.
Yeah. So coronavirus happened. I just realized I had nothing together. I didn't know who I was. I looked in the mirror and I couldn't even I used to not be able to look at myself in the mirror because I hated myself so much and I was so miserable. So one day I woke up, I snapped, I downloaded like 100 books. I started journaling and making lists of new goals. I started writing out who I wanted. I started listening to every podcast, anything you can think of. I had the conversation with my husband, started having the tough conversations with my children. I started being honest with who the fuck I was and everything that was happening in my life, other than like, I owned a barbershop. I was always meant to be a business owner. I've always ran and managed every business I've ever run. I'm always I'll be working one day. They're like, you're the manager now. I'm like, cool. Always the responsibility, never the money, because I love to work with people. I fucking love a team more than anything. Like I love a team. So I just snapped one day. I realized that I had a shit life because I had made that life. And if I wanted to change it, I was the one to change it. So what are the things, what's the things you need to do to change? I'm like, I don't read. I don't go to the gym. I don't do self-care. I fucking self-care people all day. I run myself ragged self-caring people all day.
Caring for others, but not for yourself.
Fucking never. I mommed my ex-husband. I was his mother. So I'm taking care of 3 kids. So I'm taking care, and I've always done this. And my mom's really bad at this too. I'm still working with her on yourself. You need to worry about yourself.
Is your father still alive?
Oh yeah, both my parents are alive. They're very much a part of my life. My dad's amazing. He's a Marine and a mechanic, so he's helping me do the mechanic stuff too. He's like a mentor for sure. But we are caretakers. We're such moms. I'm not anymore. I'm 100% figured out yourself. I love to take care of people. I do it all day, but I'm not your personal mother, so those things changed.
Okay, let me do something if you don't mind. I want to go back. I want to do this chronologically. In fact, I wanted to carry this conversation in a series of like topics that I want to discuss. However, in talking with you in this short time, I realized that there's a story here that we need to understand before we get to
and I
this.
go on tangents, so thanks for
Fair.
stopping
No,
me.
no, fair. I love it. Trust me.
Okay,
so you said that you love your father and your mother, yet when you were younger, you made the comment like you didn't feel like you had the love. Can you extrapolate that? Because clearly you love your parents. You said you're saying nice things about them. I don't get the vibe that you had like a like a traumatic childhood in the sense of like your father was beating you or any of these things. But when you say that you didn't have the love, like what do you mean by that?
I had everything but like the physical love.
Like a hug.
Dude, yeah. We just didn't do that in our family. My dad was
mother and father?
Yeah. Like both of my parents my mom's a foster kid. God bless her, dude. I don't even know my aunties and uncles. They're all horrible people in jail. We're not welcome to be around them. So the fact that my mom turned out to be as amazing as she is incredible. So like all the love to my mom. But she didn't get hugged as a kid. Why is she going to hug me, right? My dad had the same thing. Rough childhood, ran away at 17 to be in the military so they could go to California. So I could be a cool, born in California, because they were like, let's go do the cool thing and get ourselves out of this shithole life we're in, right? So a better life for our children.
Yeah, if you're 40, this is like basically like mid 1980s.
80s. Yeah, I was born in
early
83.
90s.
Mm-hmm. So, my mom was a badass, a real estate. My mom was like the first lady with a cell phone. She had T-tops on her car. She was such a badass. My mom was a workaholic. My parents would get up at 5 a.m. and they would work till 8 a.m. We were left alone on our own. So and again, no disrespect, I got to see examples of what I was for most of my life. And the one thing needed to change was the love thing. I'm a workaholic. I don't stop. I used to only stop when I would have to go to the hospital, because I would like literally faint and fall out because I would never stop, because I couldn't stop taking care of others. That would mean I would have to focus on myself. There's no fucking way I'm doing that. It's the same thing my mom did. She always was just taking care of others, taking care of everything, super workaholic, always throwing the big parties, always hot, they're just always doing something. There wasn't a lot of time to sit and cuddle with us.
If you don't mind me asking, were you also surrounding yourself with people that needed to be cared for?
Oh yeah, everyone's shitheads. It's a bunch of drunks, and I'm bartending at 16. I'm like, Renee, can I help you? Listening to your sob stories. Yeah, always around. Lots of men growing up too, and just naturally, I'm like a caretaker, and it just always seemed like everybody always needed something. And I always had to help out with stuff. You always had a job. If you were at my house, you were working, like in the garage with my dad, cleaning the house with my mom. You were always busy. There's not a lot of sit down time.
Did you have, I want to be careful how I ask this question, because I want you to know that I'm curious, and if I ask something, it's not intended to be in a disrespectful manner.
Oh my God, no. And I just keep saying respect, because, my parents are amazing. It's just not how I parent. I'm a very...
Do you feel like you had a childhood?
You know what? Sometimes I just don't remember it. I was a military brat, so I was born in California and then moved to Hawaii and then moved to Arizona. I was always the only white kid. I do feel like for most of my childhood, I was kind of my back to the wall, just making sure I didn't get my ass kicked. So kind of a tough upbringing. My brother was very good at making friends. He's so charismatic. He's still like that.
Older,
and I was
younger
brother?
Brother?
Shy. He's a year younger than me.
Okay, so are you the oldest?
Well, I'm the older one,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
And just by a year and some months.
Okay.
I used, the reason I had a drug and alcohol problem is because and everyone thinks this is hilarious. I'm so shy. And when I'm not around people, when I'm not at the barbershop being charismatic Megan, you can't get me to talk. I'm silent. When I go to my house, I literally, I talk to my kids, but I'm a quiet person. I really am. Drugs and alcohol took that away from me for a long time. I was oh, look at this personality, which became addicting, that I was oh my God, could be a different
extrovert
person.
I'm the life of the party.
And I so was. As soon as I had a sip, it was who the fuck are you? And everyone was just a magnet to me. My dad's quite like that too. My dad's pretty quiet, but he has a couple beers and he is the fuck. You just want to kick it.
Is that why, before we did the podcast, Adrienne told me that you no longer drink alcohol?
Yeah, I'm working really hard. Every once in a while I'll have a sip of something. I don't know if I'm ever going to be 100% sober. I smoke pot in the evenings. Every once in a while I just get this feeling that I want to have a sip of tequila. So I'm going to do that. I was really proud of myself. I went to a concert a couple weeks ago and I had a tequila drink. I dumped half of it out because I was dancing and it was spilling. And I only drank one. And that was a huge milestone for me. For me, I want to be able to live with my vices. I want to be able to not be controlled by anything and be able to do stuff. You have a bunch of whiskeys here. I'm actually allergic to a lot of alcohol. So if I drink whiskey, I'll break out in hives. I'm red. So it's funny because I've been an alcohol drug addict for a lot of years. I'll I used to always have hives and I was yeah, I'm high. I'm not going to not get high because my body's rejecting it. That's how bad it was.
What a badass.
So, I know. She say badass. I'm
what a trooper.
Psycho, right?
She's having an allergic reaction. She's fuck
you
it.
can't let things hold you back. You know what I mean?
Well, I had a professor in college who I was blessed to have a lot of professors and a lot of good mentors and a lot of father figures or older people that I looked up to that kind of said shit to me throughout my life that really hit. And I had a professor that said drugs are all around you and in you. You're never sober. You're always under the assumption or influence of something. But
yes,
he said,
because your body's creating chemicals
hormones
all the time.
But he said, if you're under the effects of some drug in order to amplify, that's one thing. But if you're taking drugs in order to dull the senses, in order to escape from problems, or in order to look for a respite, that's the issue, because that's how addiction happens. If you're out with some friends and you want to have a drink because you want to make this night a better night, I'm already happy. life is fine. Let's take an 8 to a 9. That's one thing. But if you're waking up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, I need something to get through this day, and you need something to dull and to kind of limit the pain or something like that, that's not a good thing, because what you're doing is essentially like kind of sweeping it under the rug. Like there's issues there, and you're dulling these really concrete problems with a short-term solution that, let's be honest, I mean, I know that when I drink alcohol, this is not a healthy thing for me. Now, I have limitations. I don't ever drink. Adrian?
And this is a show thing. It's kind of your fun thing.
No,
right?
I like whiskey.
Are you waking up drinking whiskey?
You want to know what I do in order to limit myself? I don't drink. Like, I don't drink at home. I don't drink alone. Like, I don't drink.
You have rules. You have boundaries.
My boundaries is, why am I drinking? If I'm here having a conversation with you, I'm not going to lie to you. Alcohol, this is going to sound so stupid, but alcohol kind of gets me...
No, it like opens you up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you feel like comfortable. It makes you... Which is why it's so addicting, especially if you're a shy person and that gives you like a whole personality that you're like, oh, look at me. I'm like a stage presence now. It's like, why wouldn't I do that?
I am not a shy person. No, I'll tell you what it is more than anything. It amplifies me. It makes me like, this is going to sound so stupid because it might sound like an addictive quality, but trust me, I am a creature of discipline.
Yeah.
I think less negative thoughts. Like sometimes when I'm having a conversation, I might like overthink something like, I shouldn't ask that. I drink a little bit. I'm like, fuck it, let's go. Like,
ask it.
Yeah, let's have the conversation. Let's talk.
It takes your inhibitions away, and that's an inhibition to overthink like that.
Not to mention, my palate's changed as I've aged, and I like whiskey.
I love tequila, boy. You give me a tequila on the rocks, I'm happy.
Do you know what I'm starting to do damage with? I don't want to get too much on alcohol, but martinis with blue cheese, olives.
Oh my gosh. Boo, I literally, when I was 19, because I lived off, I weighed like 90 pounds and all I ate was olives and I drank martinis for a solid year. And you know how I gained the weight back?
Champion's diet.
You know how I gained the weight back? The next year, Jägermeister got popular. So I changed to Jägermeister. I gained 60 pounds in like 3 months.
And Megan's like, what is going on here?
What's happening? I don't eat food. I'm like cigarettes but I love martinis too. Dirty martini. Ugh.
You and Adrian would get along great.
With that frosty, swirly glass.
When she got here for the first day, she's like, is all you have whiskey? I go, yeah, what else would I need? But sorry, to kind of bring it back though, it's like, so I have a lot of friends from a lot of walks of life. I have friends that you could consider like, the straight and narrow, the squares kinds. And then I came from fighting, so I've seen some bottom of the barrel people. Not in the sense of like who they were as people, but like the options that they had available to them, right? So like I genuinely, I'm being honest when I say I don't judge people. I try to understand, because it's like, okay, well, the circumstances that led to me being me were like a series of events. My mom, my dad, what choices I made in my life, what my environment was like. So like, if you gave me your options, your environment, how much different would I have been? Where would the nuances have changed? So I try not to judge people and say like, this is a bad person or a good person or anything like this. I try to understand people like, okay, like why is this person the way they are? They're this way for a reason. I don't want to say it's my job, but if I'm trying to have a real relationship with someone, I have to understand who this person is. Like, why am I trying to have a relationship with you? And if there's things that I don't like about you, what specifically are they and why? And can we remedy this? Can we overcome this? If not, then we're not meant to be friends. Yeah. Fair. Not everybody is for everybody. Kind of like what you were saying about love. I don't have love for everyone, but I have hate for no one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I really want to have love. I don't need to tell you I love you, but I want my energy that's coming out of like off my persons to just be love.
Positivity.
Yeah, so maybe it's not that I love you, but it's like, because I'm definitely like, stay the fuck away from me, but all love. Like, all love coming to you.
Can you love me from afar?
Yeah, but you gotta stand, trust me, it'll reach you from fucking over there. I don't like a lot of people.
Trust me, it'll reach you.
It's hard to like a lot of people these days.
Well, let's talk about that, because that was something that you said earlier, and I wanted to ask you, what do you think that stems from? Because if I recall correctly, you said that like it seems like as time passes, more and more people are worried about the monetary, and less people are worried about the humanity.
Doesn't it just feel like that?
I think you're right, but I don't know if it's like chasing quote unquote wealth. I think, and I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this one, I think our predecessors fucked a lot of shit up, in our generation, I consider you part of my generation.
Yeah.
Anyone like 40 and under, sorry
Yeah.
guys, we're the young ones now. If you look at the average age
Yeah.
of Congress, so many things were done that are in spite of our generation.
Yeah, and
Meaning,
it kind of makes you nervous, like you feel like you need to get wealth or else we're not going to make it.
not even wealth. I just think it's harder for us to survive.
Yeah, you're
How
right.
many people, I don't know a lot of people my age or younger talking about like owning homes or
100%.
starting businesses.
We need more stuff. Like you need more things to survive, but we can't even have the necessities first.
How can you care for your fellow man? How can you sit there and like wonder about your neighbor when you're just worried about your own household?
You're trying to take care of
especially
yourself.
if you have kids, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck. So like
I get that.
well, but here's the thing though. Simultaneously, I do believe because of like less people being together like in marriage. I don't want to sound like super conservative when I say this because I'm not conservative. I'm like fiscally conservative, socially liberal, truly. But like if you have less people getting married, less people are having kids, less people are going to religion. So like
There's no team anymore.
well, there's less to live for outside of yourself.
I know, and everyone's doing it on their own. It's not easy.
No.
At all. Like,
And
why
in
I love a team.
And in the replace of all these things, in the dollar we trust.
Yeah.
Because everyone now is led to believe like all of my problems can be solved with money. And I hate to say this.
It's kind of true.
The majority of
Like,
the problems.
I love money too. It
Yeah.
makes my life easier, right?
The majority of the
Yeah.
problems. Now, love, affection, how you feel about yourself. You can give a sad person $1 million and they'll kill themselves with it. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to say that it'll solve all of your problems. That's not the case.
It does make life easier.
It makes life easier.
I know it.
And then when you're no longer surviving and now you are thriving, when all of your needs are met, well, now you can start looking to your right and to your left and maybe hold the door open or ask someone about their day. I think it's a reaction to, not a concentration of. Like, we are reacting to the world around us and it's becoming harder to survive. So people are getting colder because of it. I don't think humanity is...
You're totally right.
I don't think like people are worse. I don't
No.
think, I think if everybody had like an extra $5,000 in the bank, step outside the next day.
Yeah, I'm
Get
sure.
the good fucking vibes.
You raise a really good point, and actually makes me feel a little bad that I'm like, that I kind of said that, because it's like, oh, in the last 5 years, you own a blossoming business. You're actually able, I just bought a home.
Ooh, don't feel bad,
Like,
girl. You put in the work.
You know what I mean?
We'll
though?
talk
But
about that too, though.
Yeah, and I can like, and now maybe I have the openness and the extra time or whatever to spare to
But
give
you
to
chose
others.
to do that, Megan. So here's the great. So everything I just said, I do believe, but where I kind of stop the buck is, in America, you have the option to work your ass off and still make it. Is it harder? Yes. I will give you that. Yeah, it's harder for us to buy a house. It's harder for us to make a living wage and to and do all this.
Sacrifices.
But you still can.
Because I can't tell you how many sacrifices I've made, and people are always like, "Well, how'd you get there?" I'm like, "Well, I do a lot of stuff
your
that
ass
you
off.
won't do."
Yes.
Yeah, I used to work 18-hour days for years and years and years.
Or decided to take the risk.
Yeah.
Get a loan, start a business, hire people.
Yeah, the risk. And honestly, that's probably why I was a drug addict for so many years. I'm like, how are you guys not working 3 days in a row, staying up for 3 days working? Like, I made some maybe questionable choices, but it was all in the love, like for the love of working hard so that I could be successful, because that's all I'd ever knew. That's all I see my parents do, just like work their asses off. They worked hard, they played hard. That's what I saw when I was a kid. Work hard, play hard. And I don't really play so hard these days, but I still work hard. Like, I'm constantly learning and trying to do something new, trying to grow, whether it's a hobby or a new, whatever. It's always work. But I don't think it's work anymore, because I'm really focused on trying to do things that I love.
Well, you did the work.
So then it doesn't feel like work anymore. And I'm starting to connect. Like, now I almost quit cutting hair like 10 years ago, because I'm like, I hate cutting hair. I'm not connecting with my clients like I'm telling you. And now I'm like, oh, nah, dude, I'm just creating value within myself. I'm a valuable person, so I attract really valuable people. They want to hang out with me. The hair cutting is just like a little thing I'm doing with my hands whilst I'm kicking it, basically doing a podcast every hour on the hour with a new person, making sure I'm giving love to them, really listening to them, talking to them, advice back in both ways, So that's the change. It's not work anymore.
I like that you said I'm a valuable person and that this is just something I'm doing with my hands. I love that, because I think a lot of times we get lost in the sauce and people start putting too much
It's
emphasis.
not the thing you do.
But they think like, you know, how many times do you meet someone and they're like, hi, so-and-so, accountant.
I do this.
Hi, so-and-so, I sell cars. Like, dude,
You got to sell yourself, and I get that, but it's like, so does everybody else in this fucking room. There's like 10,000 barbers. There's probably a barber hanging out next door. Everyone's everywhere. We're all doing the same thing. It's like, what are you putting into people? Especially if you work with people. Like, I happen to touch people for a living. I take it really, really.
we're gonna clip that. We're gonna clip that.
I
happen to touch people for a living,
and I
God bless.
take it so serious. Like, do you know how many people like don't care? Like, I'm putting my hands, and I'm not putting my hands anywhere. It's on your brain, on your head. Like, where's your favorite place to get scratched? It's on your head, right?
Is it?
Is it? Do you ever get that?
Oh, I've never heard.
Do you ever
that.
get like a head scratch? Oh, it's the best. Anyway, it doesn't
Isn't that
matter.
good?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like I would just go to a massage therapist to have them scratch
when I get
my head.
home tonight.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
ask
be
your
like,
wife to
scratch
just
my
tell her.
head.
Does she have fake nails?
She has longer nails than I.
Awesome. Just like one of those things. But it's just, I just think it's so important that I'm physically touching someone. I just think there's a lot of responsibility with that. So I need to very much take care of myself because I'm physically touching you. It's a lot. So
Well, you're close.
I never want to put my bad. Yeah, never want to put. I'm always a feeling good about myself, and I am a value so that I feel like I deserve to.
Well, how about this one? I'll do another one for you. If you're taking a straight razor or like to someone's like neck,
literally
think
could
about the
kill
trust.
you.
Yeah, think about the
And
the trust.
men, I don't know why I just said men. Cut that. People, literally trust you. I mean, you don't know me. You've booked online.
You can end my life.
Prepaid, and you're gonna let me put a razor to your throat. The trust and I just feel it's such a big respect, and I respect my clients for allowing me to do that, especially new guys. I just think it's so cool. I just think it's the coolest thing ever, and I just take it very seriously. That's all.
If you don't mind me asking, I want to take a step back. Patty came in, got you kind of started in this world, and took you under her wing as an apprentice. Can you describe to me what that means as like you did an apprenticeship under her? You shadowed her. She taught you the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, it was everything. First day, this barbershop I worked at, it was back in the day, it was walk-ins. We opened at 8 a.m. and at 8 a.m. there was all 50 dudes fighting to get in. I mean, it's like basically a fight. Fuck no. You waited, and if you fucking left, this is all barbershops. I used to wait with my ex-boyfriend at a barbershop. If you left, you had to bring two people because one person has to be in the seat. If you get out of your seat, the next guy moves over, you lose your seat. So, no, the first day of barber school, I did a shave on like a 90-year-old man, and I stretched that skin, and it stretched from here to here. She's like, stretch the skin. And I took that first thing, and I was like, hell yeah. And then 2 seconds later, it started streaming blood. So she took over the shave. Not even an easy shave for her. So no, day one, it's haircuts, and it's the same thing I do now. You can only learn on real people. You only get real life experience doing real life things. So, and it's basically a sales pitch, and it's the same thing. I've just made it better over the years. While she's cutting hair, she's talking to all 50 dudes. Which one of you guys wants to not wait 9 hours? You're going to sit in this chair. It's going to be a 3-hour haircut, but I'm still saving you 5 hours. And you're going to let the apprentice cut. And me and Mike, who I worked with, we had a lot of charisma. Me and him both had a lot of personality. So we would sit there and heckle and talk shit. If you're being a pussy and you're not going to let me cut your hair, well, I'm going to sit here and tell you what a pussy you are because you're not going to let me cut your hair. And then you'd be like, well, you're not going to let you attack me.
The
and then I
reverse
get you in my chair.
psychology is
Dude,
so strong.
All day it works so good.
Well, I'm not a pussy.
Yeah, I'm not a fucking pussy. I'm in your chair. I'm like, oh, sucks. Come on in. So, 3-hour haircuts, sweating. Patty, I just can't believe. I bartended all night till 3 a.m, probably did blow till 7:30 in the morning. Had to be at work at the barbershop at 9. So I'm high as a kite the whole time. I don't know how she dealt with me. I was always pretty good at hiding stuff, but it must have been so hard for her. She put in so much work to us.
Do you still talk to her?
Oh my gosh, yeah. She actually lives on a farm in Oneida. She lives on her 10-acre farm. She has, dude, you can see the northern lights there. She has all these glamping sites set up. She's gotten like $1 million from the government to plant wildflowers and trees. Dude, she's like the most amazing human being. All she's ever done is just like give back and help, and she's so fucking amazing. It makes me like cry to think of her. We FaceTime probably. We make sure we FaceTime at least once a year. She has a kid now too, and she's a busy mom, and She hates cutting. She would never, I think she barely cuts her kids' hair now, which is crazy because she's the most, like, I remember watching when she cut hair, and I steal flair from her. Like, she would be like training me, training Mike, spinning her chair with her knee, clipping hair. And we learned old school. Like, back in the day when I learned how to cut hair, you had a shear, a straight razor, a clipper, and like 3 blades. You didn't even have a little tea finisher, like the little wall peanut, detailer that you would use at home to clean. We didn't even have those. We used a triple-aught. It was a really big clipper, but it was really tight. And then you'd have to go from the triple-aught to the straight razor. So everything was freehand. So even if it wasn't an apprentice, your haircut's taken an hour or a little more
because of the
everything's
the tools
faded.
available.
We still did the haircuts like we did today. And back in the day, I'm doing like 10-foot pompadours, and all we had was Murray's Black, and it would take 5 minutes to blow dry the Murray's Black into the hair. You had to melt it in before you could even do the pompadour. Then the pompadour takes 10 hours. It takes longer to do the fucking styling than it did the actual cut. So she was incredible. She was an educator for American Crew. I just think she just did what she did. She did everything she could do to help in that field, and she moved on. So she really saved my life, though. She literally saved my life. And she had a couple talks to me. I mean, she was always like, I was always the girl like blacking out at we would throw these huge parties. And
would she ever talk to you about it?
Yeah, she knew, we all were party animals, but she knew that everyone knew I had a drug problem. So like, but she was definitely one of the ones that would be like, instead of being like, hey, you're fucking up, you have a drug problem, she'd be like, hey, like, you're worth it. Like, you're really a good person, or like, you're really good at barbering. Like, there's things about you that are really amazing. So like, take care of yourself. Like, really try. I didn't understand. I didn't hear it then. And it even it's hard to remember
because you can recall it.
Yeah.
Now.
It's like hard to remember it, but I'm like, yeah, she was always supportive. Like, she would always tell me, you're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. I think that was the first person that really was ever like, you're amazing. Like, you have like, there's something about you.
And I'm like, resonated with you in particular.
Yeah, that was like, well, I'm something. And the fact that she was just like this, I love one of my barbers, Billy. I'm always like, remember Patty? Because the look on his face just explains her. He's just like, oh, she's an angel. Too. Yeah, her energy and everything. Just like, so for her to tell me that I was important, I think was just like the start of me believing in myself. The start of me being like, and she would be like, you're really good at this job. And I'm like, I'm horrible at this job. I'm looking at my haircuts. I'm taking 3 hours. And just like anyone now, it's the same things all my apprentices tell me. Like, they're kind of down on themselves. I'm like, no, you're amazing. Like,
you're also comparing yourself to the person teaching you.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's like
the same thing my guys do to me.
It's an apprentice versus a master. You're like,
I know.
Come on, dude.
It just makes it feel daunting. It makes you feel like you're never going to get there, which is so not fucking true. And even as an apprentice, the fact that you're doing these haircuts and putting it out, and you just learned this a year ago, that's what I tell my guys. I'm like, you're incredible. So incredible. Like, beautiful.
If you don't mind, I'm trying to get a good grasp of the chronological order of things. I think I understand a little bit about your childhood. I understand a little bit about like the older adolescence, 16, going on to like about 21. How old were you when you were no longer under Patty and doing your own thing?
So Patty actually offered to sell me Dapper Grooming Lounge, and I had just met my ex-husband. That was in Tucson. That's where I learned how to work. So Dapper Grooming Lounge was my first barbershop. And me and my ex-husband had come to St. Louis.
Wait, did you buy it?
No. Okay. Because we had come to St. Louis and partied in East St. Louis for 48 hours, and we went back to Tucson, and we were like, let's move to St. Louis. This place
St. Louis, huh?
We didn't even get into St. Louis. I didn't even realize that. I'm like, St. Louis is the shit. I think we stayed at the Drury Inn downtown. So that was as far as in St. Louis we went, which, as you know, is pretty closer to Illinois than St. Louis. So I had no idea. I'm like, the strippers are nice there. I loved it.
What brought you to St. Louis?
That's it. Well, my ex-husband's a tattooer, so he had some offers to tattoo here. I'm a barber. I could go anywhere. Yeah. So I was like, and I was feeling very high on my horse, because I was the coolest barber in Tucson. I was like the coolest bartender. Everybody knew me, so I thought I was like cool shit.
Big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, exactly. And Patty had offered to sell me the barbershop, so I was like, oh my gosh, like if I could own a barbershop now. But I was like, I didn't like Tucson anymore. I've been there for a long time, probably been there for about 10 years. And we were ready to go, and I was ready to start my new life with my new husband, and exciting, right? So I stopped. We did not buy the barbershop. And Patty ended up moving, everyone at the barbershop moved back to Wisconsin, where she lives now, Oneida, Wisconsin. And I moved to St. Louis. And that was 12 years ago and 13 years ago almost. And that was my start here.
So 13 years ago, but you didn't start the business until 10 years ago.
Correct.
So there's this lapse.
A little gap.
Let's talk about that. Those 3.5 years, did you work for other people? Did you try to find work?
Yeah,
Walk me
little
through
gap because when I moved here, I wasn't popular anymore. And nobody knew me. I was like walking up to bars, waiting in line. I'm like, what?
Do you not know who I am?
I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe they're treating me like this here. I got my fake ID taken away from Atomic Cowboy. Yeah, ugh. And I hate waiting in a line. If there's a line, I'm not going. So I don't have an ego. I'm just impatient.
That's why I don't do amusement parks.
And I like VIP, dude. I'm like, come on, where's the...
Here's
like
$20.
$20.
I fuck with that.
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
do.
here's $20. Let me skip the line, dude.
Well, because it's like, what's our most valuable commodity? It's fucking time.
Yeah, and how much does it cost to fucking get some back?
I'll do the fast pass.
I'll throw you
$100
to skip a line all day. I don't give a fuck. I don't drink anymore. That's what I was gonna give the bartender anyway.
Yeah.
So when
I feel that in my core.
I know, me too, dude. It's a non-negotiable.
Some people make fun of me because they're like, "Oh, you got to
too
be
good."
VIP." I was like, "No, fuck that." I was like, "I don't want to go to the bar to get my drink. Someone will come and do that, and I'll tip them.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait in line. I'd rather just buy the VIP and get right in.
I'd just stay home and chill.
I don't want to. You know what it is?
It's experiences too. I want the better experience. If I'm gonna go out, because I don't go out very often, I want it to be an experience.
I work my ass off too.
I know.
So you know what? I enjoy
and
the
I'm
fruits
getting
of my
old.
labor.
I don't have a lot of time. 40.
Stop.
I feel like. So.
Stop.
What did we do?
Anyway, 3 years. All right.
Yeah,
so
we got
you're waiting
here.
in line.
I couldn't get
bar
a fucking job. I couldn't get a job
as a barber.
So I'm bartending. I worked at the Tin Can downtown and managing the Bleeding Deacon.
But hold up, though. How did that feel? So
I hated it. I hated myself. I started drinking and doing more harder drugs. I was cool until I moved to St. Louis. Now I'm doing heroin because I'm like, this place sucks. I absolutely fucking hated it here. I hated it here. I wanted to go home so bad. My ex-husband's having a blast with his new friends, partying and tattooing. I'm like, just along for the ride. No friends. I knew no one. Doing drugs, so it's not like I'm going to make new friends. I'm miserable, so I'm not smiling to be able to meet people. I got no love in me for myself or anything. And then I get pregnant. I'm like, I hate this fucking place, and I'm getting fat here. I fucking couldn't put a pair. I tried on I remember one day I'm putting on so many pairs of jeans, and I'm like, I went bartending with my pants rolled down, trying to look like I'm just trying to try something cute. So my pants didn't fit, and I'm like, this is weird. And I started crying, so I took a pregnancy test, and I'm like, well, I'm fucking pregnant. So
this makes sense, actually.
Thank God. I had so then I'm pregnant.
How old were you when you got pregnant, if you don't mind me asking?
I think I'm 30. I'm 28. I'm 28, I think, when I got pregnant. Yep, because 13, I'm 40 now. Almost 41. So I get pregnant and I'm trying to get barber jobs. I'm not just I am knocking on doors getting barber jobs, and I'm getting resumes thrown away. So I go into Southtown Barber Shop, and Southtown was on Chippewa.
Why? Why were you getting turned down? Your sex?
Yeah.
Because 100%. You're a woman.
100. Literally, I walked into the Hampton Barber Shop. They're like, "You're a girl, you can't work here." And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm a better barber than you. I promise.
But even like
it's older men too.
Well, that's the thing though, right?
It was old school guys. So
you want to know why I love capitalism more than anything? Is like, even if you're a misogynist, even if you're a piece of shit, like, green should outweigh everything, right? You might not want a woman, but if like this woman is like hot and she's bringing in guests, who cares?
I also didn't think like today, like if I walked in, like we'd have words, because I'm like the confidence that I exude and me knowing myself now. There's no fucking way I'm walking out back then.
Different story.
I'm walking in high. I'm fucking pregnant. I didn't.
Please take me.
You know what? It kind of was like they said it was a girl, but it could have been a bunch of other things. The girl part was the easiest part. To tell me I looked like shit.
It was the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, it was the easy one. So, and you know, it is what it is. Hey, I worked at a barbershop, Dapper Grooming Lounge. We didn't really let girls in there either.
No shit.
You don't bring your girl. No, dude. This is a fucking barbershop. There's no girls allowed. That's why we were a barbershop with a bunch of chicks, because it was like a big fuck you to the industry. And there was like 4 other barbershops around. And all the owners could never find their boys because they were all hanging out in our barbershop, just trying to kick it, smoke cigarettes, and talk to the girls. It was so cool. So we started getting some, and there's like a couple of, I remember going to a show. Guys would other barbers, men in the industry who were kind of coming up back, and this is before fucking Instagram. I don't know who anybody is, but they would own a product company, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I know who you are." They'd hear about Patty, but they'd still be like, "But you're a girl, so like, fuck off." This is really how the industry
Patty's
was.
a girl.
I know, like, so many. I think there's a lot of people who wouldn't even know that that's true today, but this was just how it was, and I can't really say anything because I remember telling a guy like, "Hey, can your girlfriend wait outside? Like, she's not allowed to. Why is she here? This is so weird." So it was like that for a long time.
You kind of fed into the same narrative.
I sure did, and I've been a rotten old man about a lot of things for a lot of times. Even you can talk to my barbers. They joke about it like, "Oh, old man Megan like wouldn't change. I wouldn't use this clipper. I wouldn't let someone do this." I used to not allow barbers to use certain tools because I wasn't able to learn.
World rub off on you,
dude. Like what's the word where chauvinistic or like.
Machismo?
Yeah, I guess it was like this old school masculine syndrome.
Machismo.
Yeah, where it was just like that's how I was taught, and I was raised around all men. I was always around all men. My dad was like a bike club dude, all uncles, all men, brothers, dudes, no females. So it did rub off on me. It took me a long time. I've been really masculine energy too for most of my life. Like 5 years ago, I'm like the most feminine as I'll ever, but very feminine now. I love, like, I put pink on everything. I'm like such a girly girl, but that masculinity really rubs off on you. So it was understandable that I wasn't getting a job.
Not just rubs off on you, but you probably had to do it.
I did.
You're engrossed in
I'm
this.
trying.
You know what I mean? Like, I would love to sit here and I'm sure you would love to sit
I
here
have
and be
to
like,
fit in.
Ariane, I was the trendsetter. I came in and changed all the rules. No, you were like, no, I'm just trying to fucking
get paid.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, exactly. I'm just trying to fit in and be a part, which is why I was telling you, like, the fact that I'm allowed in a garage earlier. I'm so grateful. So it's,
we'll talk about that too. Trust me.
So it's, finally, I go into Southtown, and Southtown was that's the place I wanted to work. It was the fucking coolest. Dave Devine owns Southtown. The guy that owned it before him, I forget his name. He's actually fucking pretty cool. He's a firefighter dude, and he actually sent Bonnie, one of my barbers now, to come work for me. So we're cool. But I remember walking in, and he was like, "You can't work here." And he's like, "You're a fucking girl," and like threw my resume away. So I was like, "Here's another resume," and I winked at Dave and was like, "It's nice to see you again," because I had already been in a couple times, and he happened to sell the barbershop to Dave like the next week, and I happened to go right 2 stories down. There was Second District Barbershop, the oldest barbershop, and then Southtown Barbershop, and I finally got hired at Second District. And Fran, finally I found a woman-owned barbershop that wasn't traditional. She's like a salon chick, but Roy was a really sick like the oldest barber in town. He was the sickest. He cut the mayor's hair. He had all these cool old clients, and he was a stoner. He'd be smoking weed out back and trying to hide from Fran. Fran didn't want to hire me because I had tattoos. So I had to wear long sleeve shirts there. So I just fucking couldn't win. But I finally found a lady. She hired me. I started taking the overflow because Southtown was a walk-in shop, busy as fuck. And that's why it was the fucking shop. It was always the shop. I talk to people about Southtown all the time because that was the fucking barbershop in St. Louis 10 years ago. They had overflow. I would get the overflow.
Overflow meaning there were too
the walk-ins. Yep, they couldn't. So they go to Second District, and I was fucking killing it. So then Dave Devine would talk to these guys and be like, "Where the fuck have you been? I haven't seen you." "Oh, well, you guys are too busy."
I've been busy.
And Megan's down the street. He's like, "Who's Megan?" And he remembered, because they're like, "Oh, I don't know, this tattooed girl. She just moved here from Arizona." And I had told them that story. So he called me. He found my resume, because I guess the old guy kept my resume. He called me. And he hired me, and I was fucking 8 months pregnant. I remember I finally get my job. I finally get hired, and it's the
water breaks.
The worst fucking person you want to hire. Like, not only do we not really want a girl in here, because a girl has never worked there before. It was like the weirdest shit. So
that's fucking amazing, though, at the same time. Because not only did a girl not work there, but then he hired someone eight months pregnant. He knew what he was doing.
He's awesome. We love Dave Devine. I still take every apprentice to visit Dave Devine. Shout out Dave Devine. If it wasn't for Dave, if it wasn't for Patty, I wouldn't have gotten where I was so far. If it wasn't for Dave, I would not have what I was for so far. He was so supportive. But so I tried to hide it And I hit it pretty well.
What?
Dude,
You're not hiding 8 months.
I was so fat.
Are you telling people you're fat? Like, I can't put down the hoagie.
Dude. So I'm like, I have to be honest. We were having a meeting outside. He's smoking a cigarette. I'm like, I hate that you're hiring me and I'm pregnant. Probably not going to be here that long. But dude, I was like, I'll be here tomorrow. I walked in and I'm fucking banging out 20-minute haircuts. He's like, best worker I've ever seen. I got personality. I'm talking to everybody. Every guy's like, fuck you all. Dave cuts my hair. This guy cuts my hair. I'll never let a girl cut my hair. And I just went back to heckling people. I sat in my chair for maybe 3 minutes. I talked shit to someone. That guy sat in my chair. I fucking flared, dude. You would never seen a barber do so much flare. I'm flipping shears. I'm fucking turning the chair.
What we're learning from this is bullying is actually a good thing.
Oh my God, you break them down and then I built them back up. Then I spun them around. I'm like, look at that fucking haircut. No one else does haircuts like that. So
how many men have done something that they did not want to do because someone called them a pussy?
Especially a woman. You're like, fuck you,
I'm
bitch.
not a pussy. I'll show you.
Yeah, how dare
Cut
this
my
girl?
hair.
And we're at a barbershop and everyone's like, ooh, she got you. So it was pretty tight. So I loved working there. I had such a blast. I went on maternity leave. I started stealing everyone's. I loved it. The boys hated me there. The other 2 guys that worked there hated me. I almost got in a fist fight one day with one of the guys. It was a wreck. But then my ex-husband.
But let's talk about that if you don't mind real quick. Because this is, I don't want to gloss over something as important as giving birth to a child, because now this is changing the trajectory of your life, right? So yes, you have all of these things in your life, right?
Yeah.
But then you give birth, you're a mother, you have this responsibility. Is it just you and your husband? You don't have any other family?
We actually move. So we're living here. We moved to Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
Just so weird because he's going to open up a tattoo shop with our old friend who's no longer with us. And he's going to help him open it. He promised him that he would be there for 2 years. And I'm like hating St. Louis. So I'm like, I guess I'll go there. Hated Omaha even more. So I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have a kid. My ex-husband's working like 27 hours a day, so never see him. I put all my barber stuff because you see my collection. I had a bunch of collection, not that much, but I make a barbershop in the basement, and all the boys who are at the barber school get tattooed by him, and he tells them that I'm a barber, so they start coming over. So I'm basically like, I'd be at home, the baby would be asleep, and all these boys would come over and I'd teach them how to cut hair. I would cut hair in the basement. I made like a little barbershop. So I made do for 2 years, and then we moved back to St. Louis. We moved back to St. Louis. I immediately obviously called Dave. I'm like, I'm coming back. Is there a spot for me? He's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, of course. I start working there. First day, everyone's like, go fuck yourself. You can't cut my hair. They say this fucking, I go, oh my God, I'm finally back. And
nothing has changed.
I say, John, what do you mean you're not going to let me cut your hair? It's me, it's Megan. He goes, oh, no. I only let one girl in here ever cut my hair. I'll never let another girl cut my hair. It's the fat girl that used to work here.
Oh my God.
You're not the fat girl who used to work here. I'm like, dude, John.
Little did he know.
I'm like, John, it's me. It's me. Look at me. I'm
the
look at my
fat
eyes.
girl.
I was pregnant. And so he goes, oh, fuck.
They thought you were fat.
Yeah, dude, I really
Dude,
covered
men are
it.
so fucking
like,
stupid.
let's be honest, I'm working at a masculine barbershop.
So
Guess what I'm
stupid.
wearing? A fucking garage mechanic shirt that they had given me the woman's cut. So they cinched it in the middle like that. So I literally look like a man mechanic. So you wouldn't be able to really, I just looked fucking fat and I had a double chin because I was so fucking fat. I gained so much weight when I was pregnant. So yeah, Woo! So then John goes, oh, fuck, that's you? And I'm like, yeah, you guys you should have seen like all 10 dudes were all, oh, dude, what's up? No one was talking to me. I'm like, what the fuck? You guys are assholes. I've been gone for 2 years.
I'm the fat girl.
I was so cool. I know. I'm like, so then for the next like 2 months, I'd be like, hey, what's up? I'll take you down. I'm ready for you. And they'd look at me. I'd be like, I'm Megan, the fat girl that used to work here. I was pregnant, had a baby. I moved away for 2 years. I came back. They're like, oh, already in the
You just
chair.
need like one of those cardboard signs that people have.
I'm the fat girl.
I'm the fat girl. We'll cut hair.
Yeah, I was the girl. So it was really cool because, you know, like we talked about, these guys are really hard to get to let a woman take care of them. And then they were excited. So a little confidence, and that was exciting. And I worked for Dave, and I really built like a big clientele. I was busy. I think one year on Thanksgiving, I did like 47 haircuts the night before Thanksgiving. Like, that barbershop was incredible. Half the guys that come into Union Barber Shop were clients from the old barbershop, because now it's just Dave and one other guy. So he couldn't take care of 4 barbers people anyway. So they just kind of overflowed to my new shop. And I got offered to open a barber shop. I had a guy who was my partner.
I was going to ask you that because
Yeah,
like, everything sounds so good. So
Yeah.
why start your own thing?
Yeah, because I had a guy. It was actually my ex-husband's owner of the shop he worked at. Was like, dude, you need to do your own thing. And I was like, I want to.
He was also an owner of a barbershop?
He was an owner of a tattoo shop.
Tattoo shop, forgive me.
And he kind
No
of.
offense, what I'm about to say, but like he has a tattoo shop. The fuck does he know about barbering?
You know, I don't like to talk bad about people. In the long run, this guy was not a good guy. He's not in my life.
Forgive me. It's more of an inquiry. Like, why does he have the...
Because he has a lot of balls. And he's a businessman. And he can fucking talk anyone into anything. It's the best salesman I've ever fucking met in my entire life. Usually those guys are master manipulators. And he is the fucking best. And God bless him. I do love that man because... You know, I remember us, you know, so we're like, okay, we're going to open a barbershop. I'm like, I'm going to get this and open 4 chairs, like 1,000 square foot. And
How
he's
old are
like,
you? 30, 29?
I'm 29.
Okay.
Yeah, almost 30. Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a little baby and I am so fucking busy that I can't, I mean, it's just insane. And at that point, the other 2 guys, Dave's always the best. He's the best fucking barber in the whole world. He's never going to not be busy, but there'd be 20 dudes sitting there and every one of them would be like, I'm waiting for Megan and Dave. I'm waiting for Megan and Dave. The phone, we used to answer phones. We're cutting hair answering phones. I think the phone rang every day during every haircut like 13 times for me. And it would always be for me. So those other 2 guys stopped answering the phone. They were fucking pissed. These guys would rather wait 8 hours than let those guys cut their hair. So it was time for me to leave. It was too much.
It was getting competitive.
It was just too much.
Actually, competitive is not the correct word.
I was fucking killing it.
There was confrontation brewing.
It was getting weird. And it was not my fault that I fucking really care about people. And I really cared about the haircut. And those guys didn't. They cared about themselves. So it was just so night and day and obvious of who was doing the better job. And these guys couldn't. You didn't want to go with them anymore. Why do you want that guy to touch you when he's going to cut the fuck out of you when this girl is just going to like love on you? It was what it was.
You're selling it really well. I'm not going to lie to you.
I was the top Nextel sales telemarketer when I was like 15, 16. So I love like I try not to be a sales pitchy lady, but I'm such a fucking dorky salesperson. So that partner was my client. My partner was my client. He was like, you got to get the fuck out of here.
So this guy's getting his hair cut, and he's like, you need to open up your own shop.
So we go
What is he offering in this equation? Because you say he's your partner.
Yep.
Is he bringing up the capital?
He was the money guy. Yep, he was the money guy because I was like, I could do it
investment.
myself, but he's like, what about this? What if you open up a 8,000 square foot barber shop? And I'm like, I'm looking at the building, which you've seen the building. Could you
Same building, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine a person who thinks I'm going to open 4 chairs, the 4 chairs you saw on the bottom?
Yeah, that place is massive.
And then imagining that you have to like, we go in this building.
I was blown away, by the way, because
dude, it just keeps fucking going.
Well, when you told me that there's a bar in the back, I go, what?
Oh, and then there's a fucking bar. Yeah. And then there's an office, and there's a podcast room.
It was cool. It was cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sound negative when I say that. Let's just say I was like shocked. I was like, yo,
because it's not the norm.
Yeah, I was like,
I didn't want
the
norm, right? Now it is the norm. Like you don't have beer in a bar in your barbershop. It's like lackluster, but it wasn't the norm back then. So
trendsetter.
Baby. We look at this building and I'm like, I can't do that. And he's like, well, if you can't do that, I guess you're not as good as I thought you were. And immediately I was like, well, fuck you, dude. I could fucking do it.
Dude, he played the Uno
Such
reverse
a manipulator.
on you. No, are you kidding me? For 3 years, you're telling guys, you're not going to let a girl cut your hair? You're a pussy.
He sales pitched the
sales. He put the Uno reverse on you. He's like,
totally
if you can't do this, I guess you're not as good as I thought you were.
And he fucking got me.
Megan said, hold my beer.
I know. God bless him, though, because we did it. He helped me do the capital. It was very expensive to even just do the little bit. Yep. And then
did you buy the building?
No, I just leased that building. I have a long lease with that building. That building is falling. Oh, it's a hard building. That's a whole
St. Louis itself is an old city.
Also with
Brick
the landlords that are here, they're not the best. So it's just that's a whole fucking different thing. But you know, it's character and the history. God,
would you ever buy it?
Huh?
Would you ever buy the building?
I would if it would make sense, but I don't think buying commercial buildings is the smartest risk. I think renting is for the price that I pay per rent for what the mortgage would be, it would not make sense for me to buy that building.
That's fair.
Just for that particular building.
No,
I hope in the future I get to buy something else and do another one too, but
And we'll talk about the future. But
Yeah.
right now, 10 years ago, this guy is telling you you're a pussy. Let's
So
do
I
it.
do it.
And you said, all right.
So we do 4 chairs. There's 7,500 square foot. We're just in that small little area. Computer in the back, no bar.
Forgive me. You said this gentleman that hired you first. Forgive me. What was his name again? Danny?
Dave.
Dave, forgive
Divine.
me. Dave. So when you go to open up your own barbershop, what was that process
We missed that
like?
part. Well, I'm a very honest person. So as soon as I had a meeting with my ex-business partner, the same hour I had the meeting, I called Dave and said, "Hey, Dave, I got to talk to you. Can you talk to me? I got a box to pack up my shit." And I said, "Dave, I really want to open my own barbershop and I think I'm going to do it. And I just want to let you know," I said, I don't have a space. I just had a meeting, but I have this feeling that it's going to happen and I really want to do it. So I know it's going to happen. So I just want to let you know." This motherfucker was like, "Megan, you should open your own barbershop. You're fucking amazing. And you can work here as long as you need until your barbershop's open." This man let me work, and I was very quiet about it. Obviously, I didn't say anything. I promised him.
Because you want to give him the respect in his
fucking
business.
quiet until people
God
would come up
bless.
to me. They'd be like, "Are you opening your own barbershop?" And I'm like, "That's insane. What are you talking about?"
Who would do such a thing?
That's crazy. Still, guys I have today, they like, I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and he's like, "Dude, I gotta hurry up." I'm like, "I can't talk about it, but call me later." But I wanted to be so respectful because I just was so grateful.
He
So
knew what he was doing.
Building.
He knew what he was doing too.
I'm building out. Yeah, he's just the best man. Such a gentleman. Building out my barbershop and able to still work the whole time so I could support my family. So
God
like
bless.
full-time mom. Building out my ex-husband did have a lot to do with it. He was very
Do you see
helpful.
the irony? Maybe not irony, but the beauty in that. It's like you're in such a male-dominated field, and there were all these guys
so
that
supportive.
weren't giving you at the time of day. Yet here's this guy who's not only giving you the time of day, but then when yes, isn't that beautiful?
And do you also see why I'm like, yeah, totally. These guys didn't like. I agree with you for not hiring a girl. Like all the things that like I'm not like, "Oh, chip on my shoulder." Like no, that's how it was. And then you know what? That's just you. There's always gonna be really great people, and I know so many great men. I would never be like one guy was mean to me. Like of course they like yeah. So I just
God bless.
yeah, it was really amazing. So then I opened up my shop and I had the 2 weeks and I opened by myself. It was just me and I'm so fucking scared. There's like 3 things on the wall. It doesn't look like it does now, obviously. And I was so scared. And then the next day a person came in, another barber, and then another barber, and then another guy walked in.
Looking for a job.
Yeah. And then the 4 chairs was too busy, and I had to go upstairs and put 4 more chairs.
Walk me through that. What? Because you've always been the employee.
Yep.
Now you're the employer, and you're in a field dominated by men.
Yeah.
Yet here you are.
It was really hard.
The female employer.
Yeah, it's really
When you
difficult.
say it was really hard, what do you mean by that?
Well,
Really
like,
hard hiring.
You know how I do the apprentice thing with Ian? That's my current. I've done that with everyone. So I think what was really
Can you explain that to people that might not understand?
Yeah, so an apprenticeship with me, so like you have to go to school, and like one person kind of didn't go to school that much, so it was started with a little less knowledge, but most people have to we go to St. Charles Barber College, is the best barber college in St. Louis, if that's what your trade you're trying to do, and then I get you right out of school. You don't know very much, and I teach you how to master the craft.
How long
it takes
is the
about
curriculum
6
there?
months. It takes about that's like a year for the college.
And then 6 months.
I can usually get you like just feeling so confident in about 6 months.
Okay. It's about a year and a half.
I want you to
all.
and I want you to be so confident that
if you're not there,
if you had to leave, you're ready to go.
Okay.
And I also want you to learn how to multitask and be able to help your teammate next to you. We all learn the same lingo so we can all help each other. We're all constantly talking about hair. There's no gatekeeping. We all want to continue learning. Every day we're learning something new. You got to tell everybody and share. So when these guys were coming in, starting to get the jobs, there were men and some of them have been cutting for a long time, but I'm like, we're going to have to do an apprenticeship, and like, we're going to have to make sure for quality control, I have to make sure that everyone's cutting a standard. And then when I was I was taught so well by Patty.
How was the reaction by men for that?
It's my fault that the reaction was negative because I did not know how to talk to people. I learned how to talk to people and train people the way my dad talked and educated me, which is a military man. And you get told under your breath kind of how to do it. And if you do it wrong, you're getting fucking yelled at. and you're not getting a solid explanation. It's just, here's the thing, do it. And that's how I started. Now, 10 years later, all the books that I've read, all the education that I've taken, and all just the lessons learned, I love the way I'm educating now. I'm just like, all love. Let me show you, explain in great detail, very simple vocabulary so anybody can master it. And I'm really proud of myself about that, because now if you said tomorrow you wanted a barber, I'm like, oh yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll totally figure it out. But back then I was,
by the way,
harsh.
That's how Nikki talked about you. Nikki talked about you as like a great educator. Like,
I'm getting there.
You know what I mean? Like she had nothing but nice things to say, not just about you, but also like her interactions with you. She
I want
learned
them
under
to
the
succeed.
people. Yeah.
I want her to do good.
So that's one piece of anecdotal evidence where I can confirm what you are saying.
Yeah, it gets better, you know, and it's, again, I added value to myself. I learned more, and now I get to put that on other people. The good things, not the harsh things. And let's be honest, I'm still a drug addict. I don't care that I had a kid. It didn't stop it. Now I needed drugs more because I had more responsibilities. I opened a new.
You're talking about because of the because you started
I'm
the barber
scared.
shop.
Yeah, I'm scared, so I'm definitely doing drugs.
Hold up, let's talk about that.
Let's
talk about that. You're opening this business and you're scared. Scared of what? Failure?
Oh my gosh, yeah, what a daunting task. Yeah, everything. My partner is not nice, you know, he's
just a financial backer. What value is he providing? Like,
that's it. He was supposed to be a silent partner, backing financials only, but it started to turn into him telling me
what to do.
Yeah, and really basically it was more so that he could always get all the money and nothing would go to the bar. So everything, I wanted to take care of people. I opened the shop to take care of people, to give all barbers a nice home.
When you say take care of people, do you
like monetary wise?
But you mean give them a fair wage,
a fair percentage, a fair wage.
Taking care could seem like these guys are doing a bad job and you're compensating them. No. Come in, do the work. You're gonna get what
they deserve,
what you earn,
and above average. I'm trying to I'm trying to be a trendsetter and be like, no, we don't do 50%, we do 70%. Like, you know, and he was not about that. Just really every decision that I made, which now are all the decisions that have made my fucking business just boom. You know, questioning everything. So it's very stressful. Having a single parent, not the best relation, or having a child, not the best relationship. Working all day cutting hair, taking care of a kid, and doing the renovation. Yeah, it's a lot.
If you don't mind me asking, this is where I'm going to start asking for some details. I'll tell you why. I think it gives context.
Yeah, all good.
Uppers, downers, what? Alcohol, weed,
all
coke.
of it. I love coke and pill snorting, so I was snorting Percocets all day.
Painkillers.
Like 20 a day sometimes. I just crush everything up and snort it. If I could put something in my nose.
Does everybody else know?
I mean, like the people close to me and my husband were drug addicts. My ex-husband were drug addicts together. So
I'm talking about the employees.
No.
You would hide that from them.
I think they know. So, now they know. And I think they kind of knew, like I was this, and now you obviously know, and you know, like one of my guys, Billy, I was always pretty honest and open with. There's certain people I was honest with, and you know, you can tell your people who, not that you should share this with your people you work with and who you're supposed to be leading, but it's kind of hard to hide after a while. But you know, in the beginning I didn't have a lot of people around me. I wonder if people wondered why I was in the bathroom all the time, and I obviously tried to keep a close cap on it. But yeah, so I'm, you know, getting up early in the morning, I would snort a pill as soon as I got up, and those give me energy. I have like the opposite effect. So it's a painkiller. It's supposed to calm you, like slow you down. I'm up wired. And then I'd be up till 3 a.m. After work going. So
then why would you do coke if you're already getting the?
Oh my God. Well, I'll take whatever I can get. Whatever someone's putting on the table, I'm doing. Yeah, I'm a Hoover. You do not want to do drugs with me. I'm doing all your drugs and mine, and I'm going to go get more. So I could always just do so much. I was like a bigger girl. I work out a lot now, so I was like a bigger girl. I could handle a lot.
This is forgive me.
And then alcohol all the time.
This is the part where, like, this is the first time in this conversation where I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you doing this?
I've always
Everything else
done it.
makes sense. Like, hey, you fucking chose to work hard,
Yeah.
set the standard, take the chances. Now, this part is the part where I'm like, what are
Well,
we
it
doing?
catches up with you, right? Because it didn't go so well. Like I started really falling out like maybe 2 years into this business. I remember I started getting these migraine headaches and like Billy had to like catch me. I like slithered down the floor one day and he had to like call. I had to go to the hospital. One of my clients, who's still one of my favorite clients, is a doctor at Barnes Jewish, and he had to sneak me into the emergency room and like save me.
Sneak, S-E-S-N-E.
I mean, just like, yeah, because it would have been a 10-hour wait and I was going to die. And he like,
got you in the
I
front
texted
line.
me, yeah.
VIP.
I know, VIP.
VIP.
Don't even wait at the hospital, baby. What's up?
How do I get that in the ER room?
I'll give you the number. This is the
next
treatment
time
I
I
deserve.
Next time I need it, I'm gonna call 911 and I'm gonna call
I
Megan.
know, I'm like,
which one does your
I'll
boy
call
work
my
at?
doc and see.
What's going on? I don't know.
So funny. So it really did start catching up with me, and I couldn't stop because now I'm dependent. I'm still scared. I'm still like, you know, this fresh business owner. I know nothing either. I've never taken a business class. I have a ex-business partner who's like hounding me that I'm never doing good enough and it's never enough and more and more and more and more and more. And I'm like, I don't have any more. Like, I'm so fucking lost and I'm such a drug addict. And I don't think you know, my poor little babe, like good mom, baby always comes first. But I just think back, like, how much things did you miss of her, you know, like time with her. Yeah. And working and always just having to be doing something. So it catches up with me. I start getting really sick all the time. So I'm throwing this huge party. I had like strippers. We're dressed up as playmates.
Dude, where was Megan when I was little?
I know, dude. I just love throwing parties. We're gonna do another one. 10-year anniversary. We're gonna have the hugest party.
Let me tell my wife.
And you guys will be there. Get a sitter. You have to get a sitter for this one.
Baby,
You too, Adrian.
Baby, hear me out on this one.
We're getting sitters.
It's a good time.
And that old group of strippers is wore out. So I'm gonna get a new group. I'm getting fresh strippers too. It's gonna be a good party. So the day of the party, I worked my shift. It was a Saturday. I worked every single day. I was there. If we were from open to close every day when we first started for a lot of years. And I was not feeling good. And my last client was a fireman and he was really sweet. And he was like, wow, you look like you're going to die. And I was like, yeah, I think something's not good with me.
Meaning you physically looked so
I was like
ill.
gray. I was like gray. I don't even know what the fuck
And he was
it
concerned for you.
Yeah, so he literally took me to my house. He met me at my house and brought IV bags because I was like, I know I feel horrible, but I have this huge party. We're getting ready for the party. He gives me IV bags. Just enough to plump me up. I go to this party. I have pictures from it. I couldn't believe what I looked at. I was like gray and still in the bathroom snorting pills because everyone's like, you don't look so good. Do drugs.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I got to stay up for this party. The party ended early. My ex-husband like kicked everybody out because I just couldn't. So that was like one of the big milestones that I'm like, oh, my body's like physically giving out.
I can no longer maintain this
good.
lifestyle.
Yeah. And like, you know, that's when like a couple of the guys that worked for me saw me like not looking so good. And everyone's telling me like, you don't look so good. You don't look so good. And I'm just like, oh, it's because I'm a mom and business. And it's like, how does being a mom and working like make you look like that? So it just started to be like little wake up calls for me that it's like, okay, you're really fucked up. Then it really turned into starting doing like fentanyl and like really doing like hard fucking drugs.
So you went harder
really quickly. Yeah. Cause then I'm like, oh, I need more. Oh yeah. So
this was
like,
your psychology was like, okay.
not doing like, just, I got to get through too. I'm not going to stop working and I'm not going to stop doing drugs. That's crazy. So, I did start doing like, just doing fentanyl and like, for just a little bit. And then I started just looking at myself and being like, okay, doing more drugs isn't helping me handle my business.
Meaning you were getting to a point where your body was running into the ground.
You
thought the immediate solution was to go harder. But then shortly after, you were like, "This is not."
I was getting I was getting migraines to the point where I was in the hospital. I don't know if I had like a person inside of me anymore. I don't know what was happening. There wasn't a person inside of me. I was like doing the thing with my hands, cutting the hair. I couldn't really talk to people. I don't really remember a lot, really. It's like a little bit of time where I just like was robot, like doing the moves. Hey, how are you? You got a
You
haircut?
turned into an NPC.
Yeah, I
You were
was
just going through the motions.
just going through the motions. And it started to get really sad too. And then my ex-husband was not a drug addict, and then he turned into a drug addict. So he was like the person.
At this time?
Yeah, he was like always the person that was like, you know, pretty chill. And then I was like, I'm going to quit doing drugs. And that was hard because it's hard when someone else is doing, you live with someone that's doing drugs. And so I was going this way, and then he was going the other way when it used to be like this. So that was weird.
I don't need to know anything about the relationship, but can you trying to wrap my head around this? So you're talking about how you want to get sober.
Yeah.
And he's doing the opposite. What series of events led to this? Like, why did he decide to start doing drugs around the same time you're talking to him about stopping?
I think it's
drugs?
because we started then doing them together. So he wasn't dying like I was. He hadn't been doing them
was
his whole
still
life like
fine.
I was. He's like, this is fun. I'm like, this isn't fun anymore. That's what happened. That's my whole life that happened like, 5-6 years ago. It wasn't fun for me anymore. The thing that had made my life exciting and able to talk to people and put myself out there, like I still needed it, but I couldn't do it anymore. My body wasn't handling it. I started to not feel like a human being anymore. And that was the only thing I was doing that wasn't like what most people were doing. So it was pretty obvious that might be the problem, even though for me, that was like so difficult to admit. And then that's it. So it started to it made the relationship bad too. Cause then I'm like, wait, you're doing drugs and I want to do drugs, but I can't do drugs. It just turns into
Get away from me. You're a bad influence.
It's like a weird thing. Yeah.
I don't think it's a weird thing. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, it's
You're
just like a
trying to
weird
change your
thing. Like,
environment.
right. So it was just like it was a hard thing to be around. So then we started, not getting along as much. I got pregnant again. So my other daughter's about 6 years old now.
Same father.
Same father.
Okay.
Yep. I was literally I was like, you know what? I think I need to leave the relationship. I'm like going to get clean. I'm going to change my life. And then I was like, yeah. I even had it written down like, I think I was going to like have the talk,
Oh my God.
And I was like crying and I was like, why are you crying? You're excited about this. This is what you need to do. And then I took a pregnancy test and I was pregnant.
That's why I was crying.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, why am I crying? I usually cry. And I showed my mom. I was like, does this look positive? And she's like, that's the most positive pregnancy test I've ever seen. Like, it's literally like 3
Not
lines,
only is
dude.
it positive, it's
I think this looks fake. Does this
You're
look fake to you?
super pregnant.
She's like, that's fucking pregnant. I'm like, I took like 14 more. It just kept getting darker. I'm like, fuck. So
I'm getting more pregnant as we try.
yeah, dude. So I thought, dude, this baby's going to save my life, save our relationship, save everything. Was working on I'm pretty sober. I'd fuck up every once in a while, but most days I'm not waking up doing drugs anymore. I'm pretty sober. And my ex-husband is like, not sober.
Going hard.
Yeah. So it just wasn't happening. So
Did you ever have the conversation with him?
that was it. Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm trying to change my life.
Oh.
Just
Yeah, and you
crickets
just,
now.
you're your own person, you're, no matter how much
Normally
you're
I would
together,
agree.
You're
Normally
on
I
your
would
own
agree.
path.
But when you have children,
I don't really know about that, Ryan,
You don't
because
think?
I'll never understand how me having those talks with him didn't change him, but it didn't work. So, and it took me a lot of years to get over the fact that like, why am I not good enough that you didn't change for me? But it's like, you don't get to make those decisions for people, right? And it's not you, it's them. It's just what they want. So I've had to come to terms with that because that was really hard, right? Because it's like, it really makes you feel like, God, am I like that? Am I that hideous or, that horrible in bed? But those aren't things that doesn't make people change. And drugs is a strong thing.
yeah.
Drugs are a lot more important than a lot of things when you're in addiction and you're in the middle of being a drug addict. Nothing. I've never hurt anybody or stolen from anybody for drugs. That's why I worked so hard my whole life because I could always say like, I always had a fat stack of drugs and I paid for it all myself. But God, I do a lot of things over a human being to get those drugs. So I choose drugs over so many things.
Do you still, what is the relationship with your ex-husband? Do you guys still co-parent?
Yeah, we're getting better. It was really bad for a long time. He wasn't in our life. It went from saying the thing like, we're done. That, you know, it's a whole long drawn out thing. It took a lot of years.
Divorce is not fun, dude.
Not fun at all. We're on the other side now. I just text him right now because he has the girls right now.
Okay.
And that took a long time. He's clean and sober. So everyone's got their life together or working on getting their life together. So it worked out. It was a long middle though.
But I got to ask a question.
Yeah.
And I need to, before I do this, I need to preface it. If there is anything I ask that you don't want to answer, you can simply say.
I love being an open book. I love to share because everyone's going through, you know, many other people are going through the same thing, you know?
If the catalyst for the divorce was the drugs, and now the drugs are out of the picture.
Yeah.
There were other things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
The drugs was the main thing though. Because I can't work with you if you're on drugs,
okay,
right?
but the drugs are gone. Right? He's sober.
Oh, well, there was a lot more than that.
Okay, so
my standards, when I got sober, my standards changed.
Got you. Okay, so
when I got sober,
it wasn't just drugs.
No,
okay.
It was a lot. There's so many things. He wasn't the right person for me.
Fair.
Yeah.
I guess
and the more sober I got, the more
it became apparent.
the more now, like today, like I'm single now, and I'm always like, what's wrong with me? And it's like, no, you're just your boundaries and your who you are is there's a smaller amount of people that you're willing or can be with now. When I was younger and I'm fucked up, I could be with anybody. I'd snag anybody off the street because I have no boundaries or standards. Well, it just gets different, you know?
Attraction and commitment. And I don't mean commitment in the sense of like marriage, but like you can be attracted to a lot of people. There could be attractive qualities in everybody. But then it's always like, but how is this like, how would we be together?
Dude, what are the character?
Yes.
The soul of a person is so important to me now that it just changes things. So yeah, there was a lot of things. We were not meant to be, I have to be honest. If it wasn't the drugs, it was going to be something else. And I'm kind of grateful that there was like the low hanging fruit to choose to be like, that's an obvious thing that you were just done. And
but there were other issues as well.
Oh, yeah.
This was the catalyst.
Oh, my God. Me and that man, I think the first date we went on, he's like, want to do drugs? I'm like, you want to do mine? What do you got? What do I got? I mean, it was just a recipe for disaster from the beginning. But, you know, God bless him. If it wasn't for him. 2 beautiful kids out of it. 2 beautiful kids. I wouldn't be here. And I was talking to Adrian about that. Like, I'm just so grateful for St. Louis and can imagine living in Tucson now. So he really did. Everyone comes into your life for a reason.
Truly, when I say this, I mean it. God bless, because there's a lot of people that they let tough times kind of like change them. I know men that go through divorce and they become women haters.
I know, you just can't. Oh my God, and I'm such a man lover, so like, I just like cannot. And I love my ex-husband. I remember.
He's the father of your children.
Dude, and
how
when
could you not?
And I'm like, I watch other people getting divorces, and I'm like, no, thank you. And yes, I've screamed on the phone, and we have had all the bad, horrible moments that you could possibly think of. But for me, it was I was just trying to get through to him because all I wanted, and I remember visualizing back 5 years ago or 4 years ago, 3 years ago, when I really started getting into meditation, I would visualize him sober, playing with the girls. I had to do that because I had to get him. It's not my job. It wasn't my business, but I really thought he wasn't going to make it for a long time. And I didn't want that for my children. It'd be horrible. I couldn't imagine. So I would just visualize it. So
do you mind if I ask your children, based on the timeline, your daughter should be
13 and 6.
2 girls?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Vita and Lonnie. They're amazing. So I am really proud of him. And I tell him that all the time. I try really hard. I try to be very, I don't know if you've ever had like an ex, like you're very short with each other and you kind of hate each other and you want to like, about, even, I know you've been in a relationship before where it gets to the bad point and you just like nitpick, like, I hate that about you. And it's hard not to to like kind of talk down to them.
Even though I haven't said things, I have
felt it. Yes. And you've seen the example with other people, like,
I've only ever in my life had like, before my wife, I only had 3 like real relationships. Mm-hmm. And of those 3 real relationships, I've never badmouthed any of them because I always thought that your exes were a reflection of you. If you're sitting there saying like, this guy is this,
you don't badmouth.
Dude, girl, you chose
that.
Yeah, exactly. So what does that say about you?
About you? 100%.
So like, there's a lot of times I try not to, I subscribe to, they were the people that I needed when I needed them.
And they weren't for you. Like, I can't badmouth you, or I can't.
Well, they weren't for me forever.
Yeah.
They were for me for a specific amount of time, at a specific amount of, like, at a specific time, at a specific place, they were for me. Because obviously, when I say those three, like, I loved them, right?
Sure.
I had love for them.
I know. I feel like I still have I love every person I've ever been with because I learned so many lessons from each of them.
You're a better person than I.
I know. I like hope that the next person I'm with, I don't have to learn so many lessons.
Girl, I do not
or like
feel
the
that.
lessons I learn are like, oh, this is how you're supposed to be loved. This is how it's supposed to be. So
This is
really,
where you're better than I, because I look back and I go, you're welcome,
I mean, they're
ladies.
not the nicest. I don't like to see some of them out in public. Which happens. But all love, right? As long as you're over there and I'm over here, I love you.
From way over here.
It's hard not to like. I can't hate. I just have a hard time hating.
No, I agree. Yeah. I hate no one.
I'm like, you're mean. You were mean to me. Hurt my feelings a couple times, but what do you do?
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah,
there were some moments where at the time
I asked for it though, because if I let you into my life and I chose, my mom's always like, you have such a bad man picker. And I'm like, I do, but also I grew up around a bunch of fucking bikers. So if I see a motorcycle and tattoos on your face, I'm like, hey.
Let me ask you this.
So demographic.
What is the fine line between manipulation and naivety? No, innocence. Because it's like, I can understand if someone's manipulating you. That's a rough situation. But when I look back at some of my previous relationships, I think it's like some of it was manipulation, like, saying certain things that would trigger me or get me to do things that I wouldn't normally do or say things I wouldn't normally say. But then I also think like, well, how much of that was me being a young guy who just didn't know better? You know what I mean?
And exactly what you said. Do you think it's because you just didn't know yourself?
Dude,
I didn't know myself.
Girl, I'm 31. I don't know if I know myself.
Exactly. And I'm telling you that I'm barely starting to learn who I am the last couple of years. So of course I haven't picked any proper people for myself. Now, do I think I'm going to pick proper people for myself? Yeah, I'm doing a pretty good job. Because if it was old Megan, I'd already be moved in with some other dude by now. The wrong dude, probably a guy making me feel horrible about myself. But I'm not doing that. I'm working on the single thing, being by myself, learning myself, and waiting for the right person who's supposed to be in your life. So yeah, it's a learning game. And it's a knowing yourself game, because it's not manipulation if someone goes, hey, I want you to do this. And you go, okay, I'd love to, whatever I have to do to be with you.
That's you.
And that's your fault. And that's how I've been and that's how most of us are, because we don't want to be lonely. What do we think about? I'm an animal. I want to fucking eat. I need to lift heavy shit and I want to fuck. I'm an animal, right? We're fucking animals. So I think
I fuck with everything that was just said. I'm with you.
It's cool when you hang out with boys.
Yeah. I like lifting heavy shit,
men.
punching people in the face. I like fucking and eating.
I want to hit.
These are like some of my favorite things. Yeah.
I know, and I think about it all day. Wake up thinking about fucking.
You gotta put that on a shirt. Lift heavy shit. Eat fuck. Repeat
lift.
on the back.
Eat fuck lift. You want to make a shirt?
Easy.
I'll literally draw. I'll ask my friend Kelly to draw it up tomorrow. She's
if
amazing.
you make them, I'll purchase like 10.
Okay, I love
and
it.
then we'll give out 9, but I want one for myself.
I'll make an eat fuck lift shirt.
Let's do it sleeveless.
I can't wait to wear a muscle shirt, eat fuck lift shirt to the gym. Guess how many boys are gonna talk to me then?
None.
Oh.
One
well, that'll be
fucking intimidating.
That'll be none more that talks to me now.
No, but here's okay. Let me ask you this. I don't want to deviate too much from the conversation, but do you feel like they say that a lot of times, like, women want to be approached by men, right? So the kind of men that approach women tend to be the sociopathic type, the extrovert and all that stuff.
I look like this. You think guys approach me?
But that's okay. So that's.
I mean, actually, a guy did approach me today, but it's just fucking weird.
Think about the confidence that the individual would have to. Okay, so let me. I want to say this in a way that doesn't sound as an insult. You're a very beautiful woman, but you exude confidence and energy that, like.
Yeah, I walk with my head held high.
Yeah, if you're a meek man. Good luck. You know what I mean? So then what kind of guy is going to approach them to approach themselves to you?
Please tell me.
I don't know if it'd be the one that you would want.
It
for
never
a long-term
fucking is.
relationship,
It never is. But I'm not. I went up to 2 men today. I went up to 2
You're approaching them now?
Fuck yeah. I don't say anything weird. I just open the conversation. I say something
You want to eat, lift, and fuck?
I'm all, hey, eat, lift, fuck, you, smash. Listen, I say something cute. I'm such a conversationalist. What, you want to hear what I did today?
You want a haircut? I'll cut your hair.
No, fuck that. Stay the fuck away from me. Go in your bathroom and shave your own head. No, here's what, you want to hear what I said today? Tell me what you think.
Okay.
I watched a guy at the gym, and he's pretty attractive, and he helps another guy's lifting no weight at all, but he needs a spotter. He comes over.
Damn, Megan humblebrag, no weight at all.
Yeah.
I would've lifted
Dude, he's
that
got like
shit.
25 pounds on each side.
Hey,
it's fine.
everyone
I'm not
starts
talking
at their
shit
own
about
thing.
how much you
We're
lift,
not,
okay?
but we are, but we're not.
We all have a start.
Listen, yeah, you know.
So anyway, this nice man comes over and he just like, he watches and waits. And that dude needed a spotter. And then he walks away. The guy who lifted didn't say shit. I would have been like, dude, thank you for helping me not fucking kill
appreciate you,
myself.
brother.
So a little while later, he's
does this
over.
mean? Sorry.
Like the fucking bar was going to fall on this guy.
Oh,
He's like,
okay.
oh, you should have seen him. He was like this. Ooh, like lifting so weird. He was all wrong.
Megan
It was a
said,
mess.
poor form.
This babe needed to help him. So no one said, it was fine. So I walk over. I'm like, this guy's cute. I'm going to say something. So I walk over and I lean up against the cable. I go, hey, he goes, what's up? I said, dude, I saw you help out that guy earlier. I thought that was really cool of you. And he didn't say thank you. I thought you deserved a thank you. So I just want to let you know. He introduces himself. We have a long conversation, da-da-da. So that's what I do because I know I have all these tattoos. This guy had no tattoos, by the way. I do also hate that. And a girl told me yesterday, she's like, yeah, you kind of pigeonholed yourself to like only date like biker dudes. And I'm like, that's kind of fucked up.
What is pigeonhole?
Like pigeonhole, like you've put yourself in a
a box. Okay.
put yourself in a box
because of your
like,
physical appearance.
That's fucking weird. Do you agree? Fucking asshole. I was like, shut up, bitch.
Well,
I was like, I wanted to
especially
talk
in
to you,
today's
don't know
age, I feel like
who cares? This is my hobby. It's not.
you might
hobby.
disagree with what I'm. Everyone used to get tattoos to feel like unique and beautiful, but like I feel like everybody has tattoos
I know.
now.
I hate it.
So not having it's like it's been the counterbalance, right? So like
now,
if
like
you
he's
see,
the tattooed one.
yeah, like
You're
if you
the
see
weird
a guy,
one.
if you see a person, not a guy, but like a girl or a guy with no tattoos,
And
you're
I
like,
love it. Like I
Yeah.
love a guy with no tattoos because I'm like, oh, I love you.
My wife has no tattoos.
Exactly.
I'm trying to change it though.
Oh, it's so funny. I know.
I love tattoos.
I know if you
Baby.
don't have one, I'm gonna be like, hey, you want to get a tattoo together? But anyway, I realized that about myself, and I'm not like searching for anybody or anything anyway, but I am always gonna put myself out there.
Yeah.
And I already know, and I think it's so fun too. Once I say hi to you, you're my best friend. You would have never fucking said hi to me though, because I don't know what this I've heard this for a lot of years, this intimidation factor. I think it's the tattoos and the confidence, and that's fine. I love that about myself. So I always want to put people at ease.
Can I put another paradigm into this,
Yes.
similar to earlier when we were talking? I think everything you said is a variable, correct.
Yeah.
However, one of the things that has changed in time, and I don't know if women realize this, is if I was not married to my wife, and let's say she divorced me, okay, so like now I'm single, Ariane, and I had to go back on the prowl to find a partner, I would be absolutely petrified of approaching any woman ever because of the narrative that has been pushed on men.
I know there's so much stuff.
So like, don't get me wrong, I want to preface it this. There are absolutely,
think that.
well, here's the thing. There are absolutely creepy men. And I often say this, like, never underestimate the depravity and the savageness of a lonely man.
Yeah.
You would be surprised at what they are willing and capable of doing.
I know.
However, I also want to believe that is the minority of men. That is like the men that are not checked by other men.
Yeah, and there's a lot of shitty girls too. There's a lot of really great women out there. So I hear it both ways. Like I hear a lot of negative about dating too. I think it's so fun. I just like love it's meeting new people. Also, if you take sex out of the equation, which is hard, but if you take sex out of the equation too, and you're just meeting people, it really takes all the pressure off. And you're not rushed to doing anything because that's where things start to get ruined. You don't learn who people are first. You get yourself into sicky situations. So
I think that's also a privilege of women, though, if I may be honest. Because me as a man, I don't have that. If I approach women at a gym, if I approach women at all, that is always the underlying
it's like
narrative.
sexual.
You want to fuck. It's
like mine is, my underlying is actually sexual. So I'm always trying to like not be like that because I'm like, it is for me too. I'm like, of course that's why I'm fucking talking to you.
Yeah, but here's the difference. You can't, I've broken it down and I know what it is. It's the physical aptitude. If you want to fuck him, you have to get his approval. If he wants to fuck her, I'm not talking about like what's legal. A man can overpower a woman. So a woman needs to be, like, they have to have these safeguards in place. This is like, if I have a daughter, I would tell her to do all the same things. Like, hey, vet these guys. Never be alone in a room with them. Do all these things. I don't blame women. I'm simply stating, though, because of this, it only makes it so hard. Like, it's already tough to approach people.
Okay.
The fear of rejection.
Is good to hear.
Yeah, the fear of rejection. The fear of putting yourself out there. And then you don't know, like, maybe I'm going to approach this person and they're already in a relationship. Or they're married. Yeah, what have you.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So, like,
that's why I do it as a friendly thing. Like, I just say friendly things, and whatever you do with that is fine. And if I don't care either way, and honesty too. It didn't matter if that guy was whatever looking. He deserved a fucking thank you for that moment. So yes,
he was a cool guy.
I would have done it no matter what. Yeah. I would have said that no matter what. I just probably said it a little more cute and probably like looked a little cuter when I said it because he was attractive. No. Like you should have seen me like slither up to the cable. I was like, hey. Like,
nice form.
Dude, I was like, I realized my body's like in an S all. so, you know, you can put a little spin on it. So,
I don't blame women.
What it is.
I don't blame women. Like I said, my daughter, I will teach her to do the same thing. All I'm saying is...
I think it's okay to put yourself out there as a woman, too. Like, why do men have to do all the things? Like, I love approaching men. I already said it. I love men. I love making man friends. Most guys I'm with fucking despise that. But I'm like, I've been celibate for, like, a long time. Because I did that's what happened. After I got divorced, of course you get in immediate relationships.
Nikki was talking about that as well.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take fucking off the table. So I'm not a fucking weirdo. I don't get attached to people and just go around, you know, either banging people or getting in a serious relationship way too quickly because of that, which is what I always do. So I took celibacy off the table and now I've been single for 3 years.
You mean you put celibacy on the table?
Yeah, I put celibacy on the table, yeah. So it's so funny how it changes things, but for me, it makes me focus because again, I'm only thinking about 3 things all the time. So now I have to think about you and who you are and should you even be in my life and do I want to be married to you again for 13 years because that was fucking miserable.
Would you do marriage again?
Yes, I love.
Okay,
I love being married. I love. I hope I have like a Brady Bunch situation one day and I meet a guy that has kids
and make the family bigger.
Or however it happens, but I'm a team player. I absolutely despise being single for one reason, that I don't have a team. I plan, I do things, and obviously I have friends and I do stuff, but that person that you're constantly calling, being like, this is my idea, this is my goal, this is my thing. And you know when 2 people are manifesting things and working on things, how quickly they happen. So I'm doing it all on my own. So it's like it's double the time that it's taking to do all my cool things. So the only thing I don't like about being single, so I love a lot of it. It's I haven't been single like my whole life until now. I've always been with a man since I'm like very young. So I do miss that team aspect. But other than that, like, again, I'm finding myself. So I know what I want now. I'm honest about, you know, what I need and who I am. And if you tell me, I think you should be this way, I would be like, okay, well, I think you need to leave. As opposed to being like, oh, yes, sir, whatever you tell me to do, I do, because I'm just like self-serving or take care of Megan and do whatever you tell me to do. I'm not that person anymore. So it is harder to meet people, I think, for me.
I don't know if it's harder to meet them.
Or harder to...
It's
harder to stay with them after a couple dates. I'm like, oh my God, please don't call me again. But I would also say
that's very fucking healthy.
Yeah, I love it.
Make it easier to meet.
because I'm actually dating. Like, I go on dates and then I go, okay, that was fun, but please don't ever call me again.
You gotta
please stop.
You gotta experience a valley to enjoy the peak.
Dude, I know, and I'm actually really finding out.
What is dating like in the year of our Lord 2024?
I love it. It's really not fun because I'm 40, and I swear to God, every guy that talks to me is like 28, and I don't know what the fuck I'm attracting these like young kids. So then I went on a date. I hope, oh my God, I hope no one sees this, but or I hope everyone sees this. But I'm like, are you a high school student? Are we talking like, what's that lingo you just said? Like, I'm so fucking lost. So I need to aim higher age. I need to start looking.
How are you meeting these men?
I don't know.
Are you using an app?
Oh God, no. I've never signed up for a dating app.
I know we just had Erin on. She just got out of her second marriage, downloaded Bumble for a day, and met a really good guy.
Bumble?
I'm not saying do
about it. Adrian, what do you think about online dating? That's a no?
totally did online dating before I met
Oh,
Chuck.
okay.
Well,
But
hold up.
then I
Before
met
you met
Chuck.
Chuck.
How'd you
And
meet?
then I just
Okay.
dumped it all. But I think
All
it's
right.
a really good life experience.
Okay, I think I might. So I've been talking. It's literally come up every single day for 2 weeks. Everyone's like, you need to online date.
It's on
I'm
the
like
upside.
nervous.
Worst case scenario, you don't find somebody. Best case scenario, you do. It's only upside. You're dating anyway.
Kinda.
I think it's
yeah.
very hard to meet people serendipitous. Like, it's like, okay, so you go to the gym and you're at the barbershop.
I know, and I wanna
But you can't really shit where you eat. Exactly.
I
And by the
know,
way,
it's-
especially if you own where you're shitting and eating.
Dude, well, I never talk. That's the other thing. Guys always try to talk to me at the barber shop, and I'm like, this is my work. Like, I think it's so weird. Everyone else is like, you should go
You've
out with
never
them.
had
Like,
a guy like be like, let's get drinks afterwards?
I'm not. I get like a lot of some DMs, and I just ignore them because if I met you at
So
my
in these
business,
dates that you're going on, how are you meeting them?
I mean, I just like randomly like
Oh, serendipitous.
like one at the gym,
Okay.
gassed.
So you're gonna get younger guys.
They're all so young. It's embarrassing. I'm like embarrassed. I'm like, I'm old enough to be your mom. They're like, that doesn't matter. I'm
Definitely
like, what the
don't
fuck?
bring that one up because then they're gonna get.
They like it even more.
They're gonna get mommy
They get the
vibes.
mom
They
vibe.
get the
And they're
mommy
like, oh, you're
vibes.
gonna take care of me. That's what they all.
And
fucking
you're
do.
like, no, bitch, take care of
I
yourself.
don't take care of anyone. Like your evil stepmom. I'm old enough
If you
to be your
want
evil
a partner, if you want a
Yeah.
partner,
You think the apps, huh? Why do I trust you? You're telling me apps, and I'm like, I'm gonna download. I'm actually. Can we be done so I can go download Bumble?
I will say this.
fuck?
I will say this.
Have you done it?
No, I didn't do
Oh,
any of the apps.
so
But
you've
here's the
been
thing.
Married to your lovely wife forever.
I knew my wife since like me and Bruna are the exception, not the rule. Like I knew Bruna, and man, I got to be careful how much of this I want to say because I don't want to. I knew Bruna for a very long time. When I first met her and like going through middle school, high school, and all that stuff,
Oh
she
my
was
God,
much
you've
more
known her
mature.
that
She was
long?
much more mature than I
So
was.
cool.
She had boyfriends. I had girlfriends. When I was in college, we even went to the same university together.
Wow.
She was studying engineering. I was studying finance. But we would see each other like literally passing the campus at UMSL because we would see each other like every
Yeah.
other morning. Anyway, it's very much the case of she would not have fallen in love with the me that existed before 25,
Yeah.
but the me that existed after. That's what caught her eye.
It's awesome.
And
You
then-
got your shit together.
So, but like, how many people are the quote unquote high school sweethearts that didn't date until they were 25? Like the stars had to
Yeah.
align. Why was she single? Why was I single?
I think my stars are just. I think I am just getting to the point where I'm like, I actually like being single. It's taken me a long time to slow down and stop and enjoy my alone time. Like I ate dinner by myself last night for the first time almost ever. And for a second, I was like, well, I was like throwing my food away, the rest of it, and I was like, well, that was kind of sad of you. And I was like, whoa, that's the first time. Like, do you know how many people eat on their own? And like, you didn't have to get up for kids, and you had to.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you feel like at this point in time you are happy and that you are just trying to find someone that can amplify the happy versus before where you may have been looking for someone to bring the
I
happy?
do. Yeah, I do feel it. So a little part of me is like, dude, you're doing fucking good. You could have time for somebody.
Obviously it can be better. It can always be better.
I know, because I like a team, and a team always gets more done.
But
so I
is
love
it good?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Can it be better? Yeah, of course.
Always.
I mean,
Yeah.
But is it good? I
I
often
think
say
I'm getting close to the point thinking it's good. So that's why I think I need a little more time.
I'm not getting any vibes from you that makes me think like I'm getting a lot
Like
of
I always think I can work on myself. There's always more to do, right?
God bless.
Yeah.
God bless.
So I'm
Same.
like, am I ready? Because I
Fucking
still have
same.
so much to work on, but
Well,
that'll go forever.
It can also be a work
Never
in
gonna be
progress.
perfect.
Apprenticeship. You're learning while you work. That's what
I'm
relationships
still learning,
are.
and I've been doing it for my job for 16 years. So
If you ever stop, if you ever feel like you know it all,
never.
have you ever heard the term victory defeats us all? Meaning you get to the point where you think you know it all, and that's how you get defeated.
I hate those people. I say every day how much I'm so grateful to learn. I'm so grateful for this because I just never want to be that person that's like, I know everything, and I just think it's so shitty. It's just a shitty attitude. It's just not a team player attitude. It's just not a good attitude. So
I'm going to take a step back because I want to ask a couple of questions before we end, and we're already at like about 2 hours.
Yeah, we went on a tangent.
First of all, thank you for the time.
Yeah,
because
that's fun. I'm glad it was a good conversation. Isn't it fun when it's a good conversation?
I know when it's a good
This is
one.
why I don't do podcasts, because they always are like, it'll be 30 minutes and it's like 4 hours. And I'm like, I got a story, babe. Like, it's going to take a minute. I got some things to say.
That's a great fucking podcast, guys.
Some things to say.
I say to everybody, when I like look down, like I'm talking to you, and then I look, I go, oh, okay, 5 minutes. And then we're talking, and I look back, I was like, oh, an hour and a half. We just
I
fucking
know. I
time
was like,
traveled?
I thought so too.
That's the telltale
love it.
sign of a good convo.
It's good. Good.
I'm gonna ask 2 more questions
Please.
before we end it. Forgive me.
No.
Question number 1. I think a lot of people right now are so fixated on like thriving and not necessarily surviving, and like all that entails, like the risk, the anxiety, the fear, all these other things, right? That my generation might be the first generation that's like adverse to entrepreneurship, adverse to taking the risk of trying something for themselves. And I think that's kind of sad. I know that we were talking about, especially when you first started with your business partner, the negatives. But can we talk about like some of the things that you look at? Like, do you like owning your own business?
Love.
Would you ever trade it?
No, I want more.
Yeah.
It's so stressful sometimes, but the more I learn to like detach and let everything just be, and again, adding value to myself, so I'm automatically adding value to the others around me. Being calm and handling no anxiety. I just handle each situation every day, and I know everything's going to be okay, because if it's okay so far, all the things I've told you in my whole life, and it's okay right now, then why wouldn't tomorrow be okay? It makes me feel very calm about it all. And I know that I say it sometimes. Tomorrow I could walk into work and everyone could be like, we quit. Okay. So then what do? I go find no more barbers. And I keep going. Or I talk to those guys and find out what I did wrong. What do I need to work on so that doesn't happen to me again? So there's always a lesson to be learned. And there's always a way to fix things, right? There's always a way to move on. Like you said earlier, the guy that gets a divorce and now he hates women. Well, I'll never be like that. I got a divorce and I love men even more, because I see how I should have been and how much love and how I shouldn't have taken care of it. I let you fend for your, all these things I've learned. If that happened to me where business failed or something went bad, I would just learn from it, and I'd be like, oh, maybe I'm not a good owner. Maybe I should just go work for someone else. There's always a fix, right? There's always a next. And so I'm like okay with that, and I love a challenge, and I love a risk, like all this, and how scared I was doing the first one. I can't wait to open another barbershop. I dream about it. I write about it all the time.
You want multiple locations?
Oh my God, I want Union Garage. It's going to be a 4-bay garage. It's going to have all the chairs in a horseshoe shape around the opening, so you're basically getting your hair cut outside. All the stations are its own welded station on casters. You can move, and it's fucking cool, dude. You guys, you got to see it. You can't wait to see it. So
Is this something you're working on now?
I'm just envisioning it. It will happen. In time, right? I'm never going to open up.
Let me know if you're looking for a silent partner.
Can't wait. Will you shut your fucking mouth and actually be silent? You're going to make me feel like shit.
If you just want money and you want to give me equity, yeah, I don't know if I can tell you how to do your job.
I love that. I feel like now I could have done the first one without someone giving me money, because I didn't need all that money in the first place. So I thank you for the offer. You're so sweet. I feel like I'm on Shark Tank right now.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Don't take it.
I don't. I
Get
won't ever.
and
I'll
keep
never have a
100%
partner.
equity.
I'll never have a partner again, because I'll always have someone like a manager with maybe equity in the business, something like that. But
I'm going to make a comment. If someone is only offering you money, go to a bank.
Yeah, 100%. That's a bank's job. 100%. Well, that's a lesson I've learned now.
If someone's offering you money at 0%,
yeah,
right? Like an interest-free loan.
It's never 0%.
What in this world is free?
Nothing. I know. And these are the things that 10 years ago, man, I wish
I would have known you then. I'd be like, don't do it.
I know. There's just so many lessons. And I probably had a couple people that were like, don't do it. And it all worked out, I became a good businesswoman, and I bought them out. And
I take that back. I'm glad you did.
Because it all works out.
Exactly.
And if it wasn't for that man, I wouldn't have learned. God, if that man taught me how to treat people so well because of how bad he treated me, I needed that so bad.
You said earlier in this conversation that like you college wasn't for you, and that when you started your business, you didn't go to like school for business. I'm gonna make a comment, and I'm sure every entrepreneur will agree with me. I went to college.
I'm going to agree with you too, because I know you don't fucking need college. It teaches you nothing. These things are what like it teaches you something, maybe the money part, but the working with the people is what teaches you the
I
the
think
things.
university is acceptable in. I want to be careful how I say this. I want my brain surgeon to go to school. I want my
Fucking
lawyer
A.
who's preventing me from going to prison to go to school. The same way I want my tattoo artist to be educated before he puts something permanent on my skin. The metric is credential. Does that make sense? Like we
Yes.
want to make sure that whoever it is doing this work on us is credentialed. Now we've assigned credential.
And that's a strict skill, right? That skill's been written. That's how it goes.
Yes and no, because this is where I'm going with it. The problem with university, the reason we are all starting to look at education and saying that this doesn't have value, no, it does have value. What's happening though is it's an oversaturation of the invaluable.
Yeah.
So it's like you have doctors and lawyers and, I'm sure if you take your kid to the hospital, you want to make sure that this motherfucker knows what they're doing, right? And if he's got some degree from Yale, actually Yale's never mind. Let's say WashU, because they have a great
Yeah, we have all the medical schools.
we have all the medical schools. So let's say they're a WashU graduate. You're gonna feel a little safer. You're gonna feel a
Totally.
little bit more at home with like this person taking care of your kid. The problem with universities is they've gotten so greedy, and they've expanded their curriculum so far that like we've offered so many degrees on shit that just doesn't fucking matter.
Well, you don't get real world experience either, so you're not getting that part.
I would go as far as to say that you do not. Okay, universities used to exist because they used to be a place of learning. That doesn't like that niche is no longer isolated to universities. You can get on YouTube
And learn.
and learn.
Which is where I learned everything.
A place of learning can be in the comfort of your own home while you're taking a shit.
Totally.
Okay, so then what are universities? They are a place of credential.
Yes,
They
it's
are
a
to
piece of
prove to
paper.
me that you're smarter than me, that you can time manage better than I can, and you're going to do something that I cannot do. But when everyone sits here and has a degree in some useless shit, it starts to dilute the value of the degree. So I don't want to go as far as to say you don't need school, but I will go as far as to say you don't need school for 90% of the shit that school is telling you. One of them being business. Can you know finance and all that? Of course.
Well, someone can't teach you guts, and someone can't teach you to have the balls
You can
to
have a
do the
degree.
things that I've had to do.
You can have a degree
Yeah.
and run a business into a ground. You cannot have a degree
100%.
and open up your own barber
And I'll
shop.
tell you what, I didn't read. I hated reading in school because they told me I hate. And if you tell me
You
to do
hated
something, I'm
reading
doing
shit
it.
you didn't want to read.
Hated it. Now I have a library of over like 100 books, and every book is business, self-help, how to treat others, everything.
Shit
I
you're
don't
interested
read
in.
anything other than, the self-help business category, and I've learned so much finance. I mean, everything now that I've read these 100 books, it's like I've went to school. I feel so well read and educated.
Can I ask you? Oh man, we're gonna get up. Fuck it. It's my show. I can do whatever I want.
You can do whatever you want.
I
You're
wanna
the boss.
I want to ask you a question because you're a mother as well. And do you feel like the education system as it exists today is truly conducive to learning, to preparing people for life?
It's a money cattle call, just like everything else. They want and another reason
workers.
to create workers, and another reason why even when you get that piece of paper, you're like, that guy ain't as smart as that guy because that guy was born with, he's a different person anyway, so he's just better at the job. They're just teaching everyone the same way, so it's not, you don't get that same. Just like how it is in elementary school, everyone's taught the same way, but Johnny doesn't learn the same way as Megan learns. So they're not getting the same information. So everyone's coming out differently. But tangent, I don't think that school's necessary almost for anything except if you need that piece of paper. And now when you have that piece of paper, you can't even get a job.
Credential. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
No, you can't get a job in that field. Why? Because there's already too many of them. We don't need that anymore. So they're not saying, hey, you shouldn't go in that job or you shouldn't go that route because there's not that.
Or you don't even need the degree for that.
Or you could have just done it
You
yourself.
could have just done it
anyway.
yourself. I'll give you an example.
I've always hated school. I don't like school, and I think it's a big government scam, just like everything else.
Listen,
I'll get
I will say this.
Joe Rogan on you.
No, you're fine. I will say this. I am glad that I went to school and got my degree. It has only made my life better. But I'm also in a field where like I handle very sensitive data that if was left unchecked could lead to lawsuits and litigation, all these other things.
So you needed to have that.
You
that
want
particular
me
knowledge.
to have a degree.
Yeah,
Let me put it that
for
way.
certain things.
For certain
and then
things.
you've made it more successful, possibly because of the extra things you've done outside of school. How much of a salesman are you? How much do you fucking want it? It's you. I don't care how much school. There's dumb fucking people who go to school every fucking day and they're like, I'm a doctor. And I'm like, don't fucking touch me.
Preach.
Because you don't have, your hands say, stay the fuck away from me. You know what I mean? There's no bedside manner. Like your energy, and that's why, back to that, your energy is what's going to get you further, right? If I feel uncomfortable around you, I don't care how many degrees you have as a doctor, I'm going to be like, I don't want this dude to touch me.
So I have two separate businesses, one logistics, and I would consider this a media company at this point. I don't accept resumes for hires.
Oh, I throw them in the trash. I don't even care. I threw Sammy's resume away. She talks about that. I saw her. I see you. I just need to see you and talk to you.
This is why I fucking wanted to talk to you, because in that 10-minute conversation that we had at the barber shop, you said like 4 fucking things. I was like, yeah.
What did we talk? What did we say?
You told me that, it was becoming an entrepreneur was simultaneously like the scariest thing, but the most alleviating thing. But it's also this constant state of responsibility because you have multiple people that now are relying on you for their livelihood. They need this money to pay their fucking rent and car bills and all this other shit. So you take that seriously. I do too.
Pretty serious.
I one of the things I said this multiple times, and forgive me for the guys that watch multiple episodes. I love being an entrepreneur not because I make money. That's a byproduct of the work.
It's a byproduct of helping people.
Dude, the way people
it's in every book there ever was written. Money, read, Think and Grow Rich. Dude, Earl Nightingale fucking said it 50 fucking years ago. It's the strangest secret. You do not succeed. You only succeed by helping others, and the money comes to you the more you help others. That's why I care about people.
There is no such thing as self-made.
No,
there's no such thing.
Do I have a fucking? If it's just me in there, would you have walked in and been like, "Wow, look at this place"? No, I own a fucking cool business because of the other people. Without all these other barbers in there, it's just me in 8,000 square foot looking like a fucking idiot. Like, and how can I control that? And how can I take care of anybody? I can't take care of. We have a 10,000 client list. 10,000 people. I can't take care of 10,000 people. I need all these other people. So that's why you don't gatekeep. You extend your knowledge. Anything I find out new, I'll group text it. I'll be like, guess what I found out? Because if you help others, then they're helping others. And that's the fucking domino effect. And that's why I say I love you in my head before I see you. Because even if I didn't tell you, maybe you're going to be more loving than that guy. Slow the fuck down on the freeway. Not be such a fucking asshole. Because everybody's so angry all the time. And I just don't like it. Because I used to be one of those people. It's like a sad life. And sometimes you don't even know it. We're just trying to make it. Like you said, we're just trying to keep our heads above water.
The majority of people are living for today.
I know.
Thinking about tomorrow is a luxury for them.
Yeah.
And this is why, I'm going to sound so douchey when I say this. I think it's an honor that I'm exclusively thinking about tomorrow because today is so taken care of. Now, it was done through hard work and all these other things, correct. But you said something where you were like, if I was in the barbershop alone, like, I would look like an idiot. I agree. But not for,
not an idiot, because I'd change it. But what if it was just me forever? That's nothing,
but
right?
That's, okay, so, but why? The why is, if I walk into a business and this person is the sole proprietor and the only employee, the first thing I'm thinking is...
What's wrong with that guy?
Why is no one willing to
Why does no one want to hang out with her?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Me too. I'm thinking that too. I'm like, why doesn't anybody like me?
So what
it would
good...
suck.
Now, entrepreneur is like a broad term, like leader. There's good leaders and bad leaders.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur. There's good entrepreneurs and there's bad entrepreneurs. In my humble experience, on my 31 years on this planet, 8 of them being professional, the best entrepreneurs were the ones that looked at it, their labor source, their employees, as like people they are leading. We are a team.
Yeah, we're leaders.
This
I don't
is
say
a
employees.
ship.
They're not my employees.
What do I say, Adrian?
I hated him.
Please.
I don't own anybody.
I love that you fucking
anybody.
said that because She tries to call me boss. I'm like, we are.
Oh,
what do
I
I
hate
say?
that word. I
What
know.
do
I tell
say?
everyone to
I
leave
do
me.
it to annoy you, but yeah, but we always say we're partners.
Yeah, we are partners. Those are my partners, all of them.
You're in the weeds
yeah.
with me. We're fighting together.
I know.
I'm
Some
not
people
your
call me
boss. I'm not your
and
employer.
I'm like,
you work
ew.
with me.
Yeah, we're friends. I say friends, and I love those people. They're my family. They're my family, and you know, I like to do the apprenticeship and then teach everybody the same verbiage because I do hope that my apprentices and them barbers open their own shop one day if that's what they want. I do obviously selfishly want everyone to stick with me and open up barbershops with me and we all get to be a happy family forever. I know that's just not that's not up for me to control. So I want everyone to be able to have what everyone deserves to have what I have. Like, what did I do special that I'm the only one that deserves this? So I want to give everyone the knowledge that I have, and everyone is everything I know, so that if they want to, they're capable of it. Then we're just helping more people, because at least I know I've taught them how to care and love for people properly. And I know when they open their own shop, hopefully they'll do the same. And the other people want to work with them, you know?
Megan, I'm glad you exist.
Thanks. I think the same thing about you.
Glad you're here.
You know, it's nice to talk about these things because I didn't know if I couldn't really communicate. I wouldn't be able to communicate this stuff some years ago. So it does feel good I did have someone tell me, you need to just be yourself. And I was like, fuck you. I am being myself and you don't like it. So leave me the fuck alone. Like, this is me. And I was really proud of myself that I could be like, I am myself. This is me. Like, I know who I am now. I know what I stand for. And it's all this stuff that we're talking about. And it just feels really good to talk about it because it's like, it's good stuff. Like, for real, I feel like just like a good person. And no, I want to sound like, oh, I'm the best person, I'm doing so. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not hurting anyone and I'm trying my hardest. I'm just trying my hardest to be the best person and possibly repay my karma and make up for how I did used to treat people. And alls I want is to, and I don't care if people are like, think I might be overdoing it. Well, I fucking am, because I want to just show so much love so that I never go back to treating people the way I used to and never treat myself the way I used to, because no matter how shitty I was to everyone else, you couldn't imagine how shitty I talked to myself. So it's just good, all of this. I like these things to go over history so you can remind yourself, like, how far you came, you know? Feels good.
You have the same reverence for these things as I do, and it's hilarious because we come from completely different walks of life, but have come to the same conclusion.
Yeah, we're like, we have a lot of similar things we agree on, that's for sure.
It is a constant reminder to me of why I think the way I think. Just because someone doesn't look or think or talk like me, it does not mean that they are different.
We could be exactly the same. Yeah, I never judge a book by its cover. Obviously, I don't want people judging me by my cover, and that happens quite a bit, which is fine, but I know that's because I'm just so different. You're so different than your skin, you know? Your insides are just so... Rarely do people's outsides match their insides, I find, the older I get.
I love that thought. Megan, we're way over.
Way past time.
No, but
we did good. You have plenty to edit from.
Before, I'm completely done with the questions that I have. But is there anything that you want to talk about before we close up shop and call it an episode?
No, I think we went through. You did the whole timeline. We did good, right?
Oh my God.
We went from. I think the only place we stopped was that I wasn't a good business owner 5 years ago, and then. Now it's fine now.
Would you, and don't feel obligated to answer now, but I would love to have you on again. But the second time I would have you on, I want to talk about exclusively what it's like running a business. And I'm not talking about the finances.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about
the people.
Yes.
I know, because it's so hard.
Because
it's every fucking day.
How do you teach people how to congregate like different mentalities and genders and upbringings and all this other shit.
Much.
Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is, if you have employees, is just as much of just.
It's like a lot of kids that you're trying to get not to fight and get along.
I don't want to say kids because there's a negative connotation to that.
Oh yeah, I guess I felt bad when I said that too, but just a lot of different people, a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yes.
We need everyone to work together.
Yes. Listen, brother, we gotta, sorry, sister, we got a menu. We gotta fucking
That's
pump
how
this.
in with the dudes I
Yeah,
am.
we gotta pump this menu out. We have a lot of cooks in this kitchen right now. We just gotta make sure no one gets burned. The food comes out good. Like, let's all work together, and that's so fucking hard. Every employee you add, you have 1, that's easy. 2, well, now you gotta make sure they're good. 3, you gotta make sure everybody's good, because it's, dude, a bad employee.
And it keeps going. It's a cancer.
It's as a
worst.
cancer
You gotta
cell
get
can
rid of
kill the
them. I
body.
get rid of them quick.
People can kill a business.
And you know how I stay on top of it? I'm not a busybody and I'm not a micromanager, but I know what's going on with you. And I just ask, hey, Ryan, you seem a little off today. Who's bothering you? What's going on? And they tell me, because
the tax man.
I'm your friend. I know that we work together, but I'm your friend. If we're not friends, you're not gonna work. If we can't get along, it can't be work with me. You got to be able to talk to me and tell me stuff.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's go a little bit longer. Speak on that, because I think one of the lost arts is like
communication.
Not even that, but like I hate this thing of if I can't have a beer with him, I can't work with him. No, it has nothing to do with like going out and beer. But if I don't like you, if I can't trust you, you're not working for me. You're not working with me.
We're together for a lot of times. And that's the other thing. You have to be able to work with me. So if I ask you something and if you don't feel comfortable enough with me to like tell me what's going on, then I can't be in my business. So it's my business. You're not my business. But yeah, if you're getting drunk all day and it's affecting work, well, then we're not going to have a conversation about how you can't work for me if you're drunk. We're going to have a conversation about, hey, what's going on in your life that's making you feel like you need to get drunk every day, and what can I do to help you? Because it's about you. You're a human being. I don't give a fuck if you work for me and cut hair. I could care less. I don't care. What I do care about is your health. And I want you to be healthy and happy. And it's funny.
But it's 2 birds, 1 stone. The healthier they are,
the happier they are. And the better worker they are. And come to find out, when you take care of a person, those people, I've never had to fire those people. They go, thank you for helping me figure it out. I'm like, yeah, you might have to help me in a couple weeks, Shug. I'll be a drug addict forever. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? I mean, that's not going to happen. But you know what I mean? Like, we're here for each other.
You sit here and say that you're not a micromanager, and I neither am I. Am I a micromanager?
I try not to be. I am a little. It's hard.
Speak like it is, girl.
You are not a micromanager.
Okay.
We're in control and leading.
Very opinionated.
Yes, for sure.
But
better be.
You and I gel amazingly because you will listen.
Yeah, you don't feel disrespected.
I never feel disrespected.
And it's a conversation.
I have conversation, and he listens to feedback. And
I always say, I want to hear everything you want to say, but I am the executive. Like, I'm the one who makes the decision.
Someone has to make the decision.
I'm the one that says yes or no.
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel like if I say no, that I'm not listening to you. I did. I'm still making the decision. It's like a tightrope, right?
Yeah.
How do I make someone feel respected?
And heard.
And like, I don't want to manage them so much that they feel like they're a child, but I also don't want to like step too far away where they start questioning why I'm in the equation.
Yeah.
Well, I can do this myself.
Exactly.
Ariana's not even in this equation.
I think and that's a lot of the stuff I'm learning. I read a book called Radical Candor, beautiful book. It's about talking and communicating with the people you work with. But you said it.
Radical Candor?
Yeah, Radical Candor. It's a beautiful book. I'll send it to you.
Will you text it to me?
100%. I'm getting really good at, again, I know how to treat people. I am worth value. I understand that the people that I work around are very valuable. I don't think anyone's replaceable. I hate when people used to say everyone's replaceable at this job. No one is fucking replaceable. You're a human being.
No, if you think that, you are the biggest piece of shit.
You are. You literally think you don't care about a human being.
I subscribe to anyone can learn anything.
Yeah.
Therefore, anybody can be replaced in the sense of like that work is not isolated to that person.
Yeah.
But if you
because we can all learn a trade.
Correct. But if you look at people as indisposable, if you look at them as like
they're special,
they're so easy to get rid of. Well, no.
Yeah.
Now you're a piece of shit.
People are special.
You should always look at it as a hurdle to rehire.
Yeah.
How much time and effort would I have to put into someone to get them up to your speed? And is that investment worth you leaving? If not, pay them what they're fucking worth and be on with your day.
Yep. So just taking care of people, I find is really kept. I have a lot of guys. I have a lot of people that've been there a long time, and I always wonder why. And I think it's because I've grown with them. They've grown with me. I'm very honest too. Like everyone at the shop knows what I've been through the last 10 years. Everyone, and I don't bring my shit to work. But we know each other, you know, and I'm very honest about, and we joke out of behind. I mean, now I kind of make jokes about. I mean, me and Benny joke about.
Can you talk about not bringing your shit to work? What
do
you mean when you say that? Because that's a skill set I don't think a lot of people understand.
Yeah, well, there's a doormat in front of every business, and when you walk I don't care what's bothering you with your personal life, when you cross the threshold of your job, just keep it to yourself. When someone asks you how you're doing, you say, I'm good, because that's what you're fucking getting paid for.
Yep.
I'm doing great. Then go to the break room. That's what we do. Come to the break room. Let's all cry together.
Yep.
We have
a nice, healthy adult cry.
A healthy cry is good for everyone. We talk it out. I can tell when you're not feeling good. I take you into the bathroom. You're doing okay. What's wrong? We cry together. We get it out. But to the client, our fucking business, we fucking say we're fine. Just say I'm fine and move the fuck on. So that's a big deal for me. If someone's having a rough day on the floor, you're going to have a rough day and put your shit on clients. You're sick today. Go the fuck home.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but get the fuck out of here.
I don't think enough people understand
Oh
that.
my God. People don't know how to act,
These people
dude.
are paying you money for whatever it is. Maybe it's a haircut.
Worst.
Maybe it's a skill or
and
a
you got
service
1
or a
hour, you
product.
can just keep your personal shit to yourself. It's so inappropriate.
You know what it's called? It's called discipline. I'm not saying
100%.
I'm not saying don't have your emotions. Dude,
have your emotions in check, though. That's the other thing. If you're not a solid person, that's another thing. Like, you got to help the people to be solid. Why do you look so glum? The clients, let's fix you. So then the clients don't see and you can take a break. And, people's mental states maybe aren't the best these days. So I'm here and my mental state is on fire right now. So I just like to make sure that I can help anybody
There's
else
like 3 or 4 different times in this conversation I want to give you like a big hug.
Do it at the end.
Sometimes, especially in the last couple of months, I've had to like let go of some people or like detach from some people, and it made me feel like it makes me question myself. Like, am I a good leader? Am I,
Yeah, are you doing a good job?
If I take their considerations too close to heart, well, now I'm a pushover. But if I don't empathize with them, well, now I'm an asshole.
Well, you as a leader have to have your boundaries, your the things that you're not going to bend on, even though you're going to bend and you're going to try your hardest. So when you're a secure leader, there's some things you just have to say, I'm sorry, I think this is not going to work out. And that sucks because I hate to lose people. But there does come a time with every relationship that you're like, you got to write the negatives. My mom told me this a long time ago. Write your negatives and your positives. If your negatives outweigh the positives, then it's just going to keep getting worse. People don't change. You can, and even especially if you're like, hey, can I help you change? And they're like, no. You're like, well, then no one can help you.
People can change, but if they're 38,
and they're probably not.
It's going to be a long process, and I'm not trying to pay you for it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to.
Sound like an asshole.
Go get therapy and come back in a couple of years. And I never take people back either, because once you leave, we're done.
Ooh.
You never take because people have come back.
Like a bad
and been
breakup.
Like, yeah, people come back and be like, I'm ready now, and you're like, sorry, that was your time because I gave you 10 chances back then. I'm also like a 20 chancer.
That's different.
I give you all the chances. I've talked to you about it.
They've really had to fuck up.
Yeah, so good for you that you're mature now. But I was in your life for a reason. At that time, you're supposed to be someone
How many
else.
Employees do you have under you at the barbershop?
I don't have any
now?
Employees because
Forgive me. They all lease.
Because it's a whole thing. But I don't like. Everyone is self-employed. They're their own person. You take off when you want to take. You do your own thing. I just have boundaries that everyone and boundaries for the client, because the bottom line for me is the client. Every decision I make, it's not about you, the barber. It's about the client, what looks good for the client, what's going to make the business grow and keep people around. That's my job. So when I have boundaries with you as a barber, it's not personal. It's boundaries for everyone. It's the business boundaries and it's for the client.
It's not personal.
Yeah. And then
it's
on that
same
note,
for everybody.
You're a person, you do whatever you want to go on vacation for 3 months, have fun. I have guest spots. I have guest spots come in from out of town. They're free people. They're just there hanging out, working. I make sure they're nice people. Traveling barbers.
You'll take on some traveling barbers?
Yeah, you want to come work for a week? Our buddy just came from Salt Lake. Like, I used to have people all the time before coronavirus, but it'll get back to it. But kind of like tattoo shops. Everybody, you want to come visit St. Louis? Come work.
I actually don't know that. I've had the same guy do all of my tattoos.
You're so boring.
I'm so boring.
God, I hate when people don't go. Shout out to all the tattooers. I hate going to the same person. I'm a tattoo slut. I want to go to a different dude like every time, except for my best friend Megan. Shout out Honeymoon Tattoo. She's my best friend. She's the best tattooer, so I do go to her all the time.
Shout out to Aaron from Diablo Ink Tattoo.
Diablo Ink, shout out.
Sorry, he did both.
Your
of my
clients
sleeves.
are hella boring.
Actually,
okay, and his arms are fired.
Adrian and Chuck.
His arm. Oh, of course, his arms are fired though. Because actually, when you walk up to the shop, I was like, "Oh, hottie with tattoos, good client."
Dude, no one.
And then he came in and he's like, "I don't want a haircut." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, I think I attract the good people. They don't even want a haircut.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love that.
I felt
was
so
like,
bad.
Why are you here?
You were like, do you have an appointment? I was like,
What are
oh
you
no,
doing?
hi, I'm Ariane. Like, I'm just here to talk to you.
I'm like, did you just come for me?
Technically, yeah. I wanted to talk.
Yeah, and then you did.
I wanted to talk
was
to you before
awesome.
I talked to you.
So silly. What was I gonna say? So
I'm boring. Got it.
No.
Can I say something though?
yeah, what were we saying? I forgot.
The suits, the attire, all of these things. I got tattoos because I wanted them, right? And when I was coming up through fighting, it seemed like something that was conducive to the lifestyle.
Totally, you look like a tough guy.
I've never, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Fucking scare these motherfuckers.
If I want to go, like when I go to like Target, if I just don't want to be approached by anybody, I just fucking throw a scowl on. I got sleeves. Everyone assumes like I'm a convict.
I used to live my life like that.
You feel me? But it was not necessarily conducive. I want to say this. I have never regretted, nor do I ever want to get rid of any of the tattoos I want. In fact, the opposite. I want to do a leg sleeve.
Yeah, I don't want any skin showing.
Let the wife know that on the record. But the reason why I wear the suits, the reason why I do all these other things is because in my line of work now, there's two things: age bias and perception. And if I walk in
and you're fucking with my money and you have tattoos and I have tattoos, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. You're not welcome to watch my children and you're not welcome to touch my money. You better have a fucking suit on. I'd let you with this on, but I see you with sleeveless shirt and tattoos. I'm this tattooed. I still would be like, fuck this guy. Why? Because it's your fucking job to look like a fucking professional and make me feel safe. So, dude, I'll have these tattoos all day. I'm a judge. I judge tattoos like a motherfucker.
Same.
Dude, do your fucking, know your role.
If someone has bad tattoos,
I have
instantly
these
assume they're an
tattoos
idiot.
because I'm a barber and I got more popular the more tattoos I got. Plus, this is just me now. But that's for me. And that's okay in my industry. Figure your shit out before you just go trashing your body. So I don't appreciate that type of stuff. Everyone doesn't get to get tattoos. Also, I'm done now. I don't like this that everyone has tattoos and I don't look like a freak show anymore. So I'm going to take it even higher now. Adrian, I'm going hard now, dude. You're going to see Megan with no skin showing. And what else was I going to... I just don't like it. I remember being called disgusting. Like a stranger would be like, you're disgusting. Like at the grocery store. And now everyone's like trying to fucking hang out with me and touch my tattoos at the grocery store. I'm like, this
bitch,
sucks.
I got this because I didn't want to get approached.
Yeah, just like, it's just not as cool as it was. So I used to be sad, like, oh, I'm tattooed and everybody doesn't like it. And now I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know it was going to be so popular.
I'm so judgy on tattoos.
Like how they look and stuff. Well, there's like tattoos
not necessarily the
and
style.
tattoos.
Yeah, there's not necessarily the style because like there's traditional.
It's placement too. It's like how you do it.
I can look at your
like
body.
You did it fire. You did your 2 arms completely covered. Sickness. I've taken a long time to get this far, but it doesn't matter what I have on me because I'm so covered.
You have way more than I do
sick.
as well. So like, respect, right?
Thanks,
you know what I mean? Like I
thank you.
I
needed that. I love that.
But I also
no
like
one bats an eye anymore.
this is gonna sound so stupid. I was always cognizant of my industry.
Yeah, you have to be. You
have
know
to be.
your fucking role.
If I'm a tattoo artist, then I'm gonna get whatever the fuck I want.
Face tattoos.
It's in the line
really,
of work.
you walk up handling people's millions of dollars with a face tattoo, I'm gonna fucking laugh at you.
How many fighters have face tattoos? And we make the joke. We make a running joke. We're like, well, fighting better work out for you.
Yeah,
because
and it's
good luck
not,
working at.
you're gonna get knocked out tomorrow. It's so stupid.
Well,
I tell my children this. I'm like, please make sure get all the tattoos you want, sis. But make sure you have and I tell all my 18-year-olds this. I even told your kids this, I think, before. I tell all the kids in the shop, it's like my barber thing. They go, Miss Meg, and I have 18-year-olds coming and being like, Miss Meg, look, I got my first tattoo. And I'll say it, I'm not proud of you. I'm like, are you going to school right now? Do you know what you're going to get? Please make sure you keep them coverable under your clothes so you don't fuck your whole fucking life up.
Megan,
oh my God,
I've turned into my father out of like.
I wanted to fuck my life up. That's why I got these. I'm like, I don't want to work in an office.
Thank you.
Because if you made me wear that 3-piece suit every day, I would fucking kill myself.
Girl,
you look good. You make me kind of want to wear one, but only on like one day a week. But I didn't want that job. My mom was always like, you're never going to be able to be a secretary. I'm like, I know.
There's two great joys in this world: putting on a 3-piece and taking off a 3-piece.
Oh my God, no shit.
When I get home and this shit comes off, I'm
breathe.
like...
It's like a man bra, huh? It's like taking off your fucking bra.
I coach high school wrestling, and some of the seniors are coming up to me and they're like, well, here's the problem. I didn't realize this because, like, they like me. Like, they like me, so they look at me and they're like, I want to be like Coach Z. So, like, they'll look at the tattoos and be like, I should get tattoos. I've been telling all the kids, I'm like, why? One girl was like, well, I want to get one from my grandma. I was like, your grandma's dead. She will literally never see this tattoo.
Yeah, and you're gonna look dumb with one stupid little footprint tattoo.
That's what I said. That's
like
exactly what I
trash.
said. I was like, you're gonna.
These girls with no tattoos, I'm like, your skin is so beautiful. Please don't tattoo. And I think it's so. If I had it,
don't get tattoos. You're unique now. If you don't get
so
tattoos, now
so
you're the
pure.
enigma. Yes,
I think so too. And also, there's something to be
these
said.
motherfuckers ruined it.
I see a girl. I think so too. I see a girl. I know a couple girls that have no tattoos, and I just think, oh, you must be so beautiful naked, like nothing covering you up. Like I might be able
I beg to differ though. Tattoos on a woman. Sorry.
Also, not to mention, as we get older, there is lots of weird things that go on your skin. So my skin looks awesome compared to like I look at other girls with no tattoos. Like there's lots of things going on there. Lots of smarkies. Lots of marks. Skin ain't so soft as you get older.
Do you ever forget that you have them?
Yeah, I don't even think about it
all the time.
Someone will be like, "How many tattoos do you have?" And I'm all, "Oh, well,
when did you stop? Who counts?
I stopped.
Do you count? Do you? Oh, here's a question.
Know
how many sessions?
100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Dude, I don't know. My back's done like 3 times. My hip's done like 4 times. I have like 4 tattoos right here. Holy fuck! If
it was up to me, I would have had a back and a leg sleeve. But the wife was like, "Ariane, I love you. I love your tattoos.
I love your wife, but just let them be." I hope she doesn't see that. You're my best friend. I'm sorry. It's not my business. I'm staying out of it. Actually, I stay out of it. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. But I support the tattoos.
She watches.
I love her. Well, I love her already. She has to be amazing because she's married to you. I want to get more face tattoos and I don't want any skin showing. So I think I'm going to go off the deep end
Why
now.
that far?
I mean, I already have lots of face tattoos.
Yeah, but why you say I want
because I want to, you know what? I started getting tattooed because I wanted to hide myself because I was unconfident and I didn't want people to look at me. So I really thought, I'm going to get these tattoos because I hate myself. I hated my stomach when I was younger. That was my first tattoo. Everything I hated about myself, I would start covering. And now I really love myself. But
now you want to cover it.
Right now? Oh, I know, but I've already got, I also don't half-ass anything, obviously. You saw my walls at my barber shop. I'm not going to half-ass it. I've already gone this far. Now it's just like, you've gone this far, but you don't have that tattooed. Like, come on, lady, get your shit together. That's how I feel now.
But you don't feel
And now I want people to look at me. Now I'm like, look at me.
It's not from a sense of like, I want to tattoo this to hide. I want to tattoo this to
amplify. I want to be seen. And I love it. I'm like, if you're going to fucking stare, let's give them something to stare at. So that's where I'm at now. And I also don't stand out that much anymore because everyone's tattooed. So I'm like, everyone's like, oh, you look like that one other girl here. I'm like, what, the girl with a couple tattoos?
There's so many bad tattoos.
And now I'm a doppelganger to the girls with bad tattoos.
How many guys?
I can't do it, Adrian. I'm going hard, dude. You're not going to not recognize me, right?
How many guys have you thought were like attractive and then you saw that they had like a bad tattoo?
All of them. I can't date half of these dudes because of their tattoos. I'm like, babe, look at my tattoos and look at your tattoos. That's why I like guys with no tattoos.
It's like either go or don't.
I know, I adore. I'm just going to say this on camera. Just because you have tattoos doesn't mean you're pigeonholed into dating other people with tattoos. I think that's a shitty thing to say. And also, what dude, tattoos or not, doesn't think a chick with tattoos is hot? Like, let's just stop. So I'll
tell you this right now. It has not to do with whether they are tattooed or not. It is the quality of their tattoos.
Okay.
They look like a NASCAR.
They look trash, right?
Dude, if they look like a NASCAR.
I feel like I'm not trash, even though I am. Don't tell me if you think I am, but I'm not trash. So all the men with no tattoos.
Connect them.
Hit me up.
Connect them. Make it look.
Yeah, connect them. It has to be
make
a solid
them
piece.
look like this was the goal and not like you stumbled upon this.
You already know it has to be a full thing.
Connect it.
That's why when you start one body part, you finish the body part and move on.
The reason I did 2 sleeves was I did them all in a year. So like while this one was healing, we would do this one.
That's what I was doing.
And I was doing sessions like every 2 weeks. Granted, it burned me out on tattoos because like in a year I went for like literally I was going to a session every other 2 weeks.
Guess how many tattoo appointments I've had this year, and we're halfway through the year. Like 28.
28. Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, no, because you're getting a lot of shit though. That you got black and white, you got color.
I've been working on cover-ups. I'm on a cover-up thing, so it's an appointment
you got some
every
shit that
month.
You don't like?
Now I don't. My whole back's a dragon and my whole side's a dragon.
Okay.
And it's times 3 times 3. Okay. So I've had this whole thing done 3 times.
Cover-ups are a lot harder because it's a lot thicker on the ink.
It's a lot of grinding on you.
Yeah.
To just color in. So.
What do you think about? Man, fuck it. What do you think about?
What time is it?
2.5 hours.
Well, what time is it right now? Anybody know?
8:15.
Okay, I just have to leave in like probably 15 minutes.
This will be the last question I ask. And thank you.
No problem. I told my baby dad I'd be over there.
How do you feel like at this point, when I first got my first tattoo, I was like, this is so cool. Like, oh my God, what an experience. And then like my 5th appointment, I was like...
Crying?
No, not crying, but like I was like, okay, like definitely doesn't feel like that same high.
No.
Like, when I left the first session, I was like, I'm getting another one.
There's no adrenaline left.
Yeah.
After this many tattoos, I have to talk myself and I'm like, I eat a big meal. I eat like I'm going to go weightlift, compete. Like I eat like I'll eat like 14 hamburgers because you got to fuel your body. And then I got to meditate. And I can't get high because then I fucking feel it too much. It's a whole setup. The whole day is like a setup.
God bless.
And I'm kind of depressed.
God bless my tattoo artist, because Aaron.
Is he doing numbing cream?
No, he used to talk to me, and like when you're going if you go every 3
weeks,
months,
every
3 months, there's something to talk about. You can fill out a 4-hour session. I was going for like 3 to 4 hour sessions every other week, and after like 2 months, I go, Aaron, I love you. I'm gonna take a fucking nap. Wake me up when you're done, dude.
Yeah, that happens.
There's nothing I want to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. Most of my guys are friends and they want to talk and they're pretty wild and out there, so they talk quite a bit and I kind of listen, but I'll zone out too. I'll fall asleep. People will talk to me and I'll just kind of zone out and not talk. Then they stop talking.
I had to tell Aaron, I was like, I love you. Yeah. I think you're an interesting guy. And we used to get like drinks and dinner and all that. I was like, I'm going to pass out.
Yeah. Sometimes
and I hope you don't get offended by
I need to breathe sometimes too, because sometimes he's really hurt. And every month, like my last cover up, every tattoo session was on like the week of my period. Oh, Jesus. And it just planned out that way. And it went on for 6 months and I didn't want to, I couldn't, it just happened to be.
Just amplifying.
It was pretty fucked up. I'm not going to lie. I was like almost ready to cry because you have no more pain. There's no more fucking stuff.
He used to get
silly things like that. You have to think of.
He used to get so mad at me that like if I had a tattoo appointment and I drank the night before, he's like, "You're fucking bleeding all over the place." I'm like, "Yeah, motherfucker."
Oh my God,
I'm still drunk.
Half the tattoos I had are so drunk, and I've like most people have been like, "No, you're not even bleeding," because I'll be like, "I'm fucking wasted, sorry," and they're like, "Oh, it's not even bleeding." So I don't know if that's a myth.
Dude, I used to tell them like, "You think I would be doing this if I was sober?"
I used to get wasted. Some of my hardest tattoos, I probably took so many Percocets, like painkillers, that I didn't even feel them.
What was and this is where I am ending it, forgive me.
We'll do another one.
Yeah. When you got tattooed, there were some places in my body I felt nothing, but where were the ones that were the worst?
Oh, like my, my armpit. Okay, I had my armpit done. And I probably snorted like 6 Percocets and it still hurt so bad. And I remember being like, I have to use the bathroom because I did one in the middle. I was like, I gotta pee. And then my ex-husband did my throat and I was fucked up. And I remember the next day, it felt like someone tried to chop my neck off. And I had like a headache in my neck. Like, I had a whole body headache. So
I don't think people realize like when they get tattoos, like you gotta sit there for hours.
Yeah, and then like this Mike Woods did my back, and God bless him, because I just remember asking him and he just like stared at my back for like 30 minutes and I was like, is that a yes? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But it was really
it's gonna be a lot of work.
It was really hard. It was a really dark black full back cover up, but that got to get it's just the same spot over and over again, and your body has no adrenaline. The adrenaline's exciting when you first start. You're like, fuck yeah, and then your body gets used to pain.
That's why I did the sleeves, because like this would get kind of like, you know, when because I did all black and white, right? Yeah. And like some of them are a little thicker shades, so like you started getting the wide needles out, and it's like your skin can only take so much damage.
Some tattoo artists like to build their own machines, and I've definitely been tattooed by motherfuckers who don't know how to fucking build their own machines, and are like, oh, look at this cool rotary, and you're like, cool, it just grinded my skin to fucking hamburger meat. So I have a lot of fucking shout out to you asshole.
There was only ever 2. I remember every tattoo I got, people used to tell me like, oh, the pain. It was not bad at all. Yeah. Like none of the tattoos I got.
Arms are
however, I will say this: on top of the wrist, over the veins,
horrible,
and on like not the shoulder, but on the shoulder where like there's like no meat.
So the bone, dude. I think this 1111 is one of the worst tattoos I ever got to. It
took like 5 seconds. When he did this one, I had like anxiety about him doing this one. I was like, oh no.
Oh, and your body knows. So that's the other thing. I start to get anxiety after a while. I need to like pop in. I'm like, hey, let's get a tattoo. I have to surprise myself.
That's why I want to do the leg, because I'm like, okay, lots of thigh, lots of back. The knee's gonna suck.
It's not that bad. I thought the
knees not that bad.
I just got my knees done like like a year ago because I was so afraid. I had everything but my knees, and it wasn't.
It's just like fucking.
My best friend.
Every guy is gonna look
I
at them
was
like,
so
nice.
scared. Oh yeah, you keep those open. That's funny. She
For the
doesn't.
Lord.
She doesn't want to ruin
For the
them.
Lord.
For the Lord. Oh, that's fucking. She's a prayer. God, that's funny, dude.
When I look at you, I think to myself, that's a nun.
I know, right? I have these big old lips. You're like, she's never done that.
Listen, Megan, I had an idea of what this podcast episode was going to be. It was everything and more.
Good.
I want to thank you for being on Easy Talk. We are 2.5 hours
I'm
in.
excited.
You have kids to go to. I have a wife.
Okay,
who
I know
I'm
they're
sure is
going to
like,
get
what the
upset with us. Sorry.
Listen, Megan.
There's such a big story, right?
Thank you so much for
You're
being
welcome.
on.
I
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much
you.
for being on. This
Okay,
was
good.
fucking fun.
All right, good. I hope you guys have. I can't wait to listen now.